Maybe if we turn the mic on. That's probably good for you though, because I was sitting here singing the Pokemon theme song, and I don't know if anyone wanted to hear that, but my young daughters are of that age where they collected Pokemon cards and watched Pokemon every day after school and all that. So, like I was saying, that meant I did, and and I'll tell you what, the Pokemon theme song is pretty damn catchy because it gets in your head. And I haven't watched any Pokemon anything in probably a decade, but I still remember that freaking song, or at least most of it. Pokemon, my best friend, in a world we must defend. My heart's so true. Yeah, and of course the thumbnail was created by, I believe, Cold Iron Skillet, and it's a fat old me with my Pomeranian jumping through the sky with a Pokeball. So, except I have my Hyperborean shirt on. If I wasn't going to paint, I would have wore the Hyperborea shirt that I ordered and got in like a couple days ago. It just says Hyperborea Fear the Shoggoth, and it shows like a Shoggoth. So pretty cool, pretty cool. I sent a invite to my brother. We'll see if he's going to join or just be a douchebag all day, as is the norm. Actually, his wife's down, so maybe he's hanging out with her, to be honest. But George, Crafting Gamer, what are you guys up to, man? What are you doing today? Anything fun? Anything new, interesting, etc., so forth, and. Yawn. I don't know why I'm yawning. I haven't done anything all day. All right. Let me see something here. Ah, worked on your chicken coop. Cool. Cool. One thing about Orlando that I think is pretty like great, is in the city of Orlando, you are allowed, if you have a backyard, to own a chicken coop. I mean, it has to be a nice one, kinda, and you're not allowed to have roosters because I guess that would be against like some kind of sound violation if you had a bunch of roosters crowing all morning. But see, camera on. Why does the little camera on thing keep coming up? But you can have all the hens that'll fit in your chicken coop. So, like my bro Miguel, he has a chicken coop that he made to look like a fire station, except of course with the screen, but it's red and all that. And he keeps hens in there and like gets a lot of eggs, just like tons and tons of eggs. So he's pretty happy with that. And I think that's pretty awesome because, I mean, most cities will not allow you to own something like that, but Orlando will. I guess unless there's some kind of HOA saying you can't, but apparently where he lives up in East Orlando, that's not a concern. So awesome. Working on your birthday, a sister's birthday present, handmade bonsai tree jewelry box. Wow, fancy. Fancy. Yeah. I have no idea what I'll get for my birthday, but it is coming up. Your boy is an Aries. I know that because I dated women, and women, regardless of what type of woman, they all seem to be obsessed with astrology for some reason. I was going to say because I dated like a goth chick, but now that I think about it, that has nothing to do with anything. It's like, just seems part of the female condition to be concerned with um, female condition to be obsessed with astrology for some reason. Roosters are not much worse than barking dogs. I agree. Town took your rooster away. Well, F them and limit you to 6 hens. I don't think there's a limit on hens, but you can't have roosters in the city because of the crowing. But I agree with you. They're really not much. I mean, I remember having to threaten to kill a guy once. And no, I'm not trying to be an internet tough guy, but my mom owned a umbrella cockatoo, and that thing would scream. And we didn't live in the city, but we lived like 2 blocks from the city limits. And some guy came from wherever the hell he came from and started cussing my mom, and I was there. And, I had to let him know to carry his ass back to the house before there was an issue, right? But in reality, though, he wasn't really wrong. I mean, because I don't know if you've ever heard an umbrella cockatoo scream, but you can hear that thing like 2 miles away. It is just.
You're streaming awful late tonight.
Am I? I thought it was like 6 o'clock.
It's like 7:30.
Well, okay. That's not late.
For you, it is.
He says the guy that was up at like 3 a.m. playing WoW or whatever the hell you're doing.
I was up because my wife was snoring.
My wife snores, and I can't sleep without it.
My wife's only home like 3 days a month, so I ain't used to it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if she wasn't snoring, I would have to have some other thing making noise, or I wouldn't be able to sleep. I can't sleep real good when it's too quiet,
That's badass, TCG.
Yeah, I mean, look at this guy. So the wife got her Valentine's Day gifts, and she told me to stop one-upping stuff because she asked for like 15 pieces of chocolate, but I ordered her the 30-piece box.
Nice.
Because I figure if I'm spending $50 on chocolate, I might as well spend 100.
And you know what? The only thing that I could think of that would be better than 15 pieces of chocolate would be 30 pieces of chocolate.
Yeah. And of course, you know how she's so freaking frugal.
You doubled it and gave it to her anyway.
I doubled it and gave it to her anyway. And she was super thankful, but she's like, that's so much. And I'm like, it was on your list. It's what you wanted, I mean. Plus, she deserves it as much work as she does around here.
Yeah, putting up with you.
I'm not going to disagree with you if that's what you think is going to happen.
You know what? I don't think you're going to disagree with me because me and you, we try to tell the truth.
Well, one of us tries, the other one does.
Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
No, that's why I love you, man. But
yeah.
Oh, I remember. What was that guy's name? John Wesley Hardin, wasn't it?
Yep.
That they say shot a guy for snoring loud, but I'm pretty sure there was probably more to it than that.
That was probably just the straw that broke the
Yeah, like
camel's back.
that guy was probably stinking and had been talking shit all day, and then
Probably tried to have sexual relations with the dude's horse or something.
and when the snoring was just like, okay, that's it. I've done what I could. I've tried to overlook all the other shit, like you said, Haas. That was just the straw that busted the camel's back. And he's like, yeah. He was probably thinking about shooting the guy before the guy even went to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yep. He's like, one more thing to aggravate me, and I'm just gonna plug this dude.
I bet you that's exactly what it was. I bet you he was laying in bed and he was thinking, if this bastard does one more thing, I'm putting a bullet in him, right? And then the guy falls asleep and starts snoring all loud. And he's like, yep, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. Like he turned into freaking what's his name? Pesci from freaking Goodfellas. He's like, that's it. It just started freaking. Or he turned into what's his name from It's Always Summer in Philadelphia. So he just pulled out his pistols and started blasting.
Freaking
Frank.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but Frank. Did you ever see the episode of Always Sunny when they're playing the game in the bar and like they each raise their flag? And Frank raises his flag.
And it's 4 Fs.
It's 4 Fs. And the guy's like, whoa, what is that? And Frank's like, I didn't really think it'd come off like that when I made it. And the other guy's like, yeah, you did. That is I remember when the one dude like purposely got hooked on crack because he's trying to get on welfare.
Yeah.
That show.
And he's like, we could do some crack.
That show is a lot funnier sometimes than it deserves to be.
Danny DeVito.
He was amazing in LA Confidential.
He was great in all the movies he did with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You know what? I think he was in Cheers too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he came on part-time. He's married to the little short chick that's from Cheers.
The little chick, yeah.
Yeah, he's married to her in real life.
What was her name?
Rita
Perlman or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like super small. She's like 4 foot tall or something.
So is he. Frank comes running into the building and freaking whips out a bag of snow candy and lays a pistol on the bar and just like sticks a straw into the whole bag. And then the other 4 sat there like, morning, Frank. Are we interrupting your morning ritual? Is that your morning ritual?
Yeah, I think the thing is too is that Frank is like Frank is like a multi-millionaire somehow.
Yeah, he always.
But he lives in like the tiniest, shittiest apartment.
Yeah, he soaks ham and booze and takes it on hiking trips.
Well,
so nobody knows he's
Baby Cake.
drinking.
Remember, Baby Cakes has his journeying potion.
Yeah,
and it's like half vodka, half maple syrup poured into like a half-gallon bottle. The only way he could say that and be truthful is if he's the one who tells the truth. Well, there you go. Yeah. That's from Labyrinth. You see, you can only ask one of us, which is a ruse, because one of us always tells the truth and the other one always lies. And she did figure it out, but it didn't matter anyway. She was right when she opened the door. But then when she said, well, since I'm facing down, I guess I'll go that way. Dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
throw our ass into an oubliette.
Yeah, ends up in the oubliette. It's like, no, you say, I want to go back up.
I
But
watched a great anime.
what's that?
Girls on Panzers.
Oh, that's old, dude. And it is pretty good.
Yeah, it is old and it's great. They get ready to fight the Russians. The little Russian girl singing Katushka.
Which is about a woman who wanders on the hillside where the pears grow and cries about
Lost love.
her lost love who went away to fight in the war. And it predates like all the modern wars. It was written like way, way long ago. It's like a lot of these songs that people think are like World War One or World War II songs, and then you know, it turns out they were written back in like before Napoleonic War and stuff. Like Erica. Erica was written way before World War II, but everyone, you know.
Hey,
Hey, Timmy.
I heard what you said. I've actually seen the latest season of Girls in Panzer.
Oh, see, you mentioned anime, and your fellow weeaboo come running, boy.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know
about
why
to get
he's
up and all
interested in it. It's more German than Japanese.
that. That's got everything, actually. American, Finnish, everything. I like it. A lot of tanks. Awesome.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
great show.
because the one girls team that's like the main team,
It's German.
they have like a Leor Grant. I'd have to look at
Oh,
it.
yeah,
No,
again.
the main character in the show, the main girl is driving a Panzer IV.
Yeah, the
Is it
Panzer
a
4.
4 or 3?
It's
Four.
4.
It gets upgraded a lot to the newer variants, even though that's not how.
And then there's like the Leor the Grant American
have
tank,
they have a
and then
Lee,
there's a Japanese tank like a Chiha or Chiho or some shit.
No, it's
And,
not a Chiha or Chiho. It's a Chi2.
Okay,
And the British is cruising around in a Churchill.
Actually, it might have been the Chi Nu. Actually, now I think about it.
I
Chi
think
Nu or
it's the
Chi2?
medium tank.
Well, here's the thing. That would be a Chiha, which I know it's not.
Well, I'll take your word
weird
for it
thing.
because you're a freaking gimp and a weeaboo. And no,
There's another group that that's in the Stug 3. Although they
Yeah.
want to call it the Assault 3 for some weird reason.
because the actual German name for it translates to storm assault gun.
Ah,
It's
Okay.
like Schützen something. Anyway, Stug is short for assault gun.
okay.
But like everything the Germans do, forget about it. You know what I mean? It's like we called their half tracks the Hanomag, but the full name for that thing was like Solder Kraft Mc fucking cheese with
Kind of
a-
like how
I mean,
the Americans,
it was nuts, you know. The
Nicknamed
name
one
of
of
it
the
was
tanks
like
Hetzer.
they just took like 12 words and crushed them together. And they're like, we're calling it this thing. But just like the Panzers, we called them Panzers. They call them Panzers, but they were not actually called Panzers. They were like the PZKW Mark 3 or 4. That's like Panzer Camp Wagon,
Panzerkampfwagen.
whatever. And it stands for Armored War Car. Because the Germans are fucking weird. They make all these weird
Yeah.
compound words
Oh yeah, no kidding.
where they take like 20 different words and they cram them to freaking together and they're like, yeah, figure it out. So, yeah.
Hagen.
Huh?
And then the Schmacka Luka Fika Hagen.
No,
Well,
Jay.
they come up with the word, what is it? Schadenfreude? And it means like when everything's effed up, but you don't know what's going on or something. It's like a really weird word.
No,
Well,
Jay,
the Finnish got a great word, and it translates to "sit alone in your underwear drinking."
They are the happiest country on the planet. and also the country with like nearly the highest self-deletion rate. So,
Which
there's
that don't make any
definitely-
sense.
yeah, right. It's like the people who aren't self-deleting are happy as hell, and everyone else is just taking themselves out of the game. That's a sad thing, but
Now, James, did you see Bloodsworth Deadlands video?
I have watched very little YouTube lately. I
Ah,
wasn't feeling good
yeah.
this weekend.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, there's nothing you could have done about it.
I know. Just saying.
But I do
Sorry.
appreciate your I don't know what it's called, sympathy maybe.
Yeah, look there between shit and syphilis.
Right. But thank you for the well wishes. It was nothing serious, I don't think. I hope. So I didn't watch a lot of YouTube. I mean, I did turn YouTube on the other day to watch, and I hope I'm not going to piss too many people off, but I turned YouTube on to watch the Canadians cry.
They lost the ice soccer.
Yep.
Well, you know what's funny? Because a while back, Justin Trudeau posted on X about you'll never take Canada and you'll never take our game. And then someone from our government posted we got your game. And I'm just like, next year they'll probably win gold, but who cares this year?
Who knows, actually. Maybe they won't.
The guy who scored the golden goal for the win lives in Orlando. He was born there. So the Canadian team literally lost the gold to a guy from Orlando, a place where it never has ice.
Yeah, no.
Isn't that some shit?
That is funny.
It was snowing today and yesterday here.
Yeah, that's not Orlando, though.
Yeah, it was 70 degrees the day before yesterday, though.
50 here now. It got cold again. It was nice and warm for a while, and now it's like, nah.
Getting cool again here, too.
We're gonna drop the but I heard that like Buffalo and places like that up in New York are getting ready to get bushwhacked by the weather.
Man.
Fuck New York.
Oh,
I feel
James.
bad for them, man. They're looking at like a once in a century blizzard and all kinds of shit up in there.
No, James. The Bloodsworth Deadlands game was interesting and also terrifying for me.
Terrifying for you.
Yeah, we were fighting some bandits, and one thing he had was an NPC on a riding shotgun on a coach, and that NPC took out a bandit with a shotgun at close range. He rolled so high that NPC did 42 points of damage in one shot.
That'll clean your clock.
Yeah, no kidding.
Mean, I hear what you're saying, and I'm sitting here thinking. I mean, obviously, Leth knows how shotguns work, right?
Yeah, you should have been afraid. You should have been like exuberantly happy that the dude was on your side.
Yes, exactly. But what happens when we go up against somebody who's not on our side?
Shotguns really close when they empty a scattergun at you. That's a rule.
Yeah,
shotguns are kind of terrifying, bro.
I know.
Yeah,
but he also rolled really well. That was one thing that scared me.
Oh, you're from Kentucky. You should know how shotguns work.
Yeah, I know how shotguns work. I've got a couple of scatterguns myself.
But it sounds like you really
one of those like gunfighters.
I just saying how well he was rolling with that.
The scariest moment he ever had in his life is when somebody stuck a double-barreled shotgun at it in his face, because he said it felt like he was looking down the eyes of the devil. You know what I mean? Because he knew. Lost to that goalie. Yeah, that goalie save. Freaking amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Well, okay. I wasn't making fun of the Canadian team, Coco. I was making fun of all the Canadians that were talking so much shit prior to the game. And then were bitching after the game. The Canadian team was made up of a bunch of badasses. And besides that, half of the American team was born in Canada anyway. So.
Well, it's funny. There's a couple of guys He went on and said, if Canada loses to America, we do whatever the top comment says on Instagram. And the top comment was join the Marine Corps.
No, Canada had a great team, but unfortunately, one of their main guys, well, fortunately for us, unfortunately for them, one of their main dudes had to be out of that game. I forget his name.
Yeah, Canada had a great team, but unfortunately for them, we had a better one.
Well,
the proof is in the medals.
Yeah, I'm not going to say our team wasn't better. But that's hockey, though. And hockey's the only sport I actually like. And my wife's the same way. Chicago for her. And I, believe it or not, my favorite team has always been the Calgary Flames when they were the Calgary Flames.
Oh,
I've always liked the
sounds like I have to
Canadians.
go. I'll see ya.
See ya. Yeah, the Swedes got third. So, I mean, even though the rivalry between our brother nations is pretty strong, especially currently, Sidney Crosby, that was a guy that they're like, couldn't play. And apparently he's a baller. I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of that. What's up,
North Dakota just needs to relax.
Well, here's the thing. I know you're just being away, but we all know the best hockey team in the world is the Bruins.
No, it's been Florida. They won the Stanley Cup a couple of times.
Shut up. You say your favorite team is the Bruins just to piss everyone else off.
Yeah.
You know, black and gold, Bruins, Sweet Caroline, the most annoying fans in the whole sport.
Where are those guys even from?
The Bruins, Boston.
Oh, fuck Boston teams.
Yeah, a bunch of assholes up there singing Sweet Caroline. Yeah, Florida's won the Stanley Cup quite a few times in the last couple of years. Again, a state where there is no ice. But, you know, we got money.
There never is any ice, and there probably never will be any ice.
And if you're like a really good hockey player from like North Saskatchewan, and like the Orlando guys come out and they're like, how would you like to live in a tropical paradise? And we'll pay you a lot of money. And all the ice is in the barn, baby. You ain't got to look at it when you walk down the street. And chicks are walking around on the beach in bikinis. I bet you those boys in North Saskatchewan are like, hell yeah, sign me up on that contract. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Mobius? No, the Canadian team's always good. I have no problem with the Canadian athletes whatsoever, nothing but respect. They played with a lot of heart. And it is a pure miracle of God that our goalie caught that shot. That, I mean, Hollebrook or whatever, the fact that he stopped that shot, that was just freaking, like I said, divine intervention or something, right? What I was laughing at, though, was the fans that were talking all the shit and then getting come on, we all love a great downfall. You know it, I know it, Canadian, American, Mexican, whatever. When somebody runs their yap and then gets put in their place a little bit, whether it's a fluke or not, we all love to see it. And that's what I liked. I liked seeing the non-actual hockey players crying in the stands because and the whole you can't steal our game. It's like everybody plays that game. Freaking the Russians play, the Finns play, everyone plays hockey. Florida plays hockey. I mean, what are you going to say? If people in Florida are playing hockey, I mean, then you know it's a good sport. Because like I keep saying, we ain't got no ice. We got to make it, you know? So, but yeah, it's a good rivalry. And I've never like disliked, like I said, my favorite team for the longest time was an actual Canadian team.
Yeah.
But that was back when Florida didn't have a team. And you basically, America, you had like the Blackhawks and the freaking Bruins. what was Detroit? The Wings or something like that?
Red Wings.
Yeah. And I always liked Calgary because I like the red uniform because I'm a fan of the uniform, so that's why I picked them.
I've always liked the Canadians.
Is that Toronto?
I think so.
Didn't Toronto used to be something else? Oh, you want to hear some shit though? If we're going to talk sports, and I saw that Dan Sports Bars dropped in. Chicago's losing the Bears. They're going to Indiana.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I also saw that. And I was like, I
But
see
they got
Morbius is like sold. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what happens.
but they got Indiana's got the Colts.
Yep. Don't matter. Chicago is losing the Bears. They will not be the Chicago Bears. They're going to be like the wherever in fucking Indiana Bears.
Montreal Canadiens, yeah.
Yeah, Montreal, and now it's the Leafs. Yeah, Toronto's the Leafs. And then, of course, the best hockey team in all of Canada, the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs.
Yep.
Or whatever that
A lot of hot chicks in Sudbury.
Yeah, they have an amazingly high level of hot chicks per capita in Sudbury. It's like, what? That show's funny. I mean, there's parts of it I didn't like, but
Shorzy overall was better than frickin'
Letterkenny, you think? I
Yeah.
think too. I think Shorzy versus Letterkenny, Shorzy had more heart. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It had more heart, and even though Shorzy's just a monumental dick, you can't help but really like him. Even though he does got a weird thing for women much older than him. That's like a for real thing with Shorzy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I like the one Newfie they had on the team too, even though you can barely understand a fucking thing he said.
10-inch cock or Ted Hitchcock.
Yeah. And then what was the Quebecois guy? His name was like
Johnny JJ.
Yeah, it was like something JJ John, all messed up and shit. It's like the same name just over and over again.
And the black rapper who's a hockey player who's
Yeah,
Quebec.
he spoke French too, though.
Yeah. Get over it.
Yeah. And the three Indians?
Jim, and Jim.
Jim, and Jim. Yeah. 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 Right off the reservation, those guys.
Right out of the prison system when they was guards.
Yeah, guards at the local prisons. Yeah, because I remember in the show, didn't they run like a freaking like a Jeopardy thing for the inmates?
Yes.
That's a good show. I forget.
And the coach's sweetie was giving Seguinette a tugger off of the party island.
Yeah. Yeah. She was absolutely a whore, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what, the Indian chicks that run the place,
Yeah.
they're all smoking hot. Every one of them. Even the one that's probably older than me was
Yeah. The owner.
Yeah, the owner, she was hot. That is a hot chick right there. Anyway, enough of that though. So Haas, I sent you the Hyperborea bundle.
Nice.
There this week. Unless Blizzard hits and everything goes to hell. So you'll have the referee's book, the player's book, and the atlas.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought I'd be nice to you. No reason at all. I just decided to buy it and send it to you.
Yeah, I was like, I was wondering why you were sending me when you was asking me for my address.
Well, I thought I had it already, and I was going to make it a surprise, and I couldn't find it. And then I was talking to Holy Diver on Instagram.
Yeah.
I watched his last show too. It was funny.
You know what? That newest meme is pretty good. Got to catch 'em all.
Yeah, that's the that's what I'm going to be the very best. The name of this show's all about.
Yeah, I posted it in our group chat, and Jax is like, "That's my favorite one yet."
Yeah, I like the one where I'm like the sideshow guy and I've got like Shadow locked up and I'm making people pay money to see him.
Now I like the one where you're riding on the Pomeranian leading the Mongol horde.
Oh, I'm riding a Pomeranian with my recurve bow.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I put on a T-shirt that Bruce Lombardo bought.
Well, who could blame me? It's got my buddy and me being Mongols
And Hyperborea.
and Hyperborea. Yep. There's one of me in like every war charging forward with a Hyperborea flag. Like from the Revolutionary War to the Civil War to World War I to World War II.
So you're like Lieutenant Dan's family?
I guess. I don't know. I mean, Cold Iron Oven does what Cold Iron Oven wants to do, and I let him because I can't stop him even if I want to. So
Yeah, thanks to you, he sent one of me to me, and gay pride in a shirt that says "Love is Love" at a gay pride parade, with a couple of twinks hugging up against me.
okay, the one I saw, you were all done up like some kind of weeb in Japan.
Yeah, he said
some
he said this one.
chicks that are all like ooh all over you, and
he sent this one to me personally because he said it was just too wrong. Because you called me gay on your stream when he was on.
They've definitely improved lately. Yeah. I mean, he actually I met Cold Iron Oven on the Orthodox Brotherhood channel. Which is really weird, you know? And then when he found out I had a channel, because the guy who runs the Orthodox Brotherhood channel mentioned me and the fact that I have a channel, he came to this channel and kind of
went buck wild.
No, he actually spent like a year just kind of what do they call it?
Lurking.
And then after a while, because I was all like, there's at least one guy who watches every minute of my shows. It was him. And then he joined the Discord, even though he didn't ask, someone else asked, but he joined. And when I posted a link, and then he sent me a message. He's like, hey, bro. And he told me what was up. And he's like, he sent me some of the stuff he does. And he's like, would you mind? And I'm like, go nuts, man. I don't care. I can't stop you. And that's when he started with Bear and Shadow and myself. But since I could be wrong, but I think the gist is that Bear was not comfortable with me calling certain people Eskimos. And because he's corrected me on that like 3 or 4 times. And I've explained to him all 3 or 4 times that in the freaking Hyperborea Players book, they're called Eskimos, right? And I think that's a big part of it. Plus, he is mad at Mobius, and so it was a combination of things. What I do know is when he sent me a message and said he's only going to be on his channel from now on for a while and then the very same day he was on Legion of Myth, I thought, well, did that guy just lie to me?
He was on Legion of Myth Friday.
Huh?
He was on there this past Friday, too.
And it's not that I give a shit if he's on other channels or whatever. It's not like I own the guy. But you don't tell somebody, it's, nothing against you. I'm just going to be on my own show for a while and then immediately be on like 4 other people's shows. Because that means you lied. You're a fucking liar. And I don't much care for that. So, it is what it is, whatever, I mean, I'm not trying to talk bad about him, really, but you said what you said and you did what you did. And it is what it is. Yeah, but I mean, from the country that constantly feels like they have to stop and explain what tribe used to live somewhere before they can say anything. I hate that. And that stolen land bullshit and land recognition bullshit. It's like no one
Conquered.
stole the land. We settled it.
Conquered.
And we conquered you because our culture is better at war than your culture. It's not that you guys were a bunch of fucking saints hanging out in the woods, you know, singing kumbaya. You're killing each other just left, right, and center. It just turns out that we are better at it. Sorry, you know. Well, I can't. Okay, look, I have thought about this Mobius like a long time since everything went down. And the only thing that makes sense as far as like pattern recognition is that he kept wanting to correct me about calling what they up there, I guess, call First Nations, whatever the fuck that even means, Eskimo. And even when like me and Haas told him, Haas having dated an Eskimo,
Living in Alaska and everything.
Eskimos, until they actually tell you what tribe they are. And it's their word. We didn't invent that word. They did. That's their word. But for some reason, it was like all about I don't remember him saying I was Nazi adjacent, but or racist. Honestly, though, Andre, I might be. I don't know. You know that saying, like, there's a racist in every room, and you might be the one. You know, I don't think I am.
Racism is like McDonald's. You're not racist all the time until until the cheeseburger cuts you off on your way to work, and then you know.
Until Mayor McCheese steals your bike, and then you're racist a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not.
That's the only thing. But I think that's cultural because Andre, I live in a state where we basically just freeballing it all day, every day, doing whatever we want, and for the most part, our legal system ignores us unless we do shit to make them not ignore us. So down here, we say whatever we want. We hang out with whoever we want. We do whatever we want. And the northern states, especially the bluer ones, which is unfortunately most of Canada right now, they just live on a whole different timeline. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to pull my best friend as a black dude, but I mean, I know and hang out with black guys. I've worked with them. And I call them black guys to their face. You know, they call me a white guy, I call them a black guy, whatever, right? No one down here's got time for all that shit. And it's like, but these northern places, for some reason, they're so worried about it. And it's like, I can tell you right now, you can go up to Eagle River, Alaska. You can go up to the Eagle River where you can find some Eskimos. I don't know the specific tribe, fishing. Like every year they're there, and you can walk up and call them Eskimo, and they would not give a shit. They don't care. They want you to trade your fresh caught salmon for some of their fresh smoked salmon, and they're going to get the good deal out of it because whatever weight of meat is on that salmon, they're going to give you like a quarter of it smoked, maybe. And then they're going to smoke the salmon you trade them to make even more smoked salmon. And then at the end of the whole thing, they're going to take home a shit ton of smoked salmon themselves. Or, well, more like salmon jerky than smoked salmon. If you're thinking like Norwegian smoked salmon, it's not that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bear's my bro, but it is what it is.
I mean, I enjoyed his company. I did, but no, Andre's right. He
I mean, you're my bro, so you know, I got your back regardless.
Well, Andre's not wrong. Sometimes I would say some out of pocket shit, and Barry'd be like, say that I sounded like I was a Yahtzee or something, and
You know
which
who's not
makes no
a
sense because I would never be a socialist.
yeah. That's
But
communist adjacent. That's just horrible.
but here's the thing though: if somebody wants to call me something like that, I don't get mad. You know, I've hit that point years ago. At this point now, to where if somebody wants to call me something like that, I do not give a damn.
I just agree with them.
I don't even. I'm just like whatever. I don't care what you think. You know, it's like
I'm not a Yahtzee. I'm a Power Rangers fan. You remember when the Power Rangers always did their salute? Da, 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 da.
Oh, dude. Well, I mean, it's Japan though, you know, because like the Yellow Ranger was an Asian girl, and the Pink Ranger was a white girl, and the Red Ranger and the Blue Ranger, I think, were white, but the Black Ranger was black. So they were like actually color coded by their own race and stuff.
Yeah.
God, man. What are you doing, Japan? They're doing whatever they want.
Japan do what
I mean,
Japan want.
How about that Chinese commercial where the girl's, or no, it's Korean. She's dating a black dude and she shoves him into a freaking washer.
And he
It's
comes back
white
Korean.
top, comes out white. Well,
Yep.
Korean, but I mean, Koreans are whiter than I am. So that's always been something that I've always been like, huh, you know, because they say you're white. But then you see these Japanese people walking around and they're like skeleton white. Like they're so pale. And it's like, so why are you calling me white? I'm actually pink, more like a pig. You're freaking white. You're like a piece of chalk white. You know, just because you got some almond shaped eyes and some dark hair, I mean, you are white. Excuse my language. But yeah, people need to freaking clue in on the look at that idiot who I sometimes wonder might be a little bit too close to her own older brother, talking all that shit at the award ceremony, and then it turns out her $14 million house is sitting on land that belonged to.
Oh, she called ice on some dude.
And then she called ice on people. It's like, oh my God, you got up there and said you hated ICE and then immediately called ICE on people for being on your property. I mean, but that's the same thing as these idiots are always out here saying defund the police, but run up and punch one inside the head and see how quick they're on the phone at 911. Like
Yep.
immediately, you know. It's like, we hate cops. You hit them in the head, they're like, oh, call the cops. It's like, you hypocrites.
Brother, I'm falling asleep.
No, you're not. Shut the F up. You want to go play WoW.
No, I'm not playing while I'm in bed. I'm going to sleep.
You suck balls.
I always go to sleep at around 8:30, and you know this.
And you get up at around 9:30 and play WoW until like 4:30.
No, I wake up at around 3 o'clock.
Wow. Andre, yeah. I know what you're talking about, though. I mean, but I generally blow a lot of stuff off because, I mean, I don't care that much. But
You blow stuff off or you blow it up out of proportion.
wow, throw me right out on Front Street, why don't you?
I'm just telling you how it is. You got two modes. You're like, whatever. Oh my God.
You are an ass. You really are. Wow. Wow. Just like right out in front of everybody for the whole world to see, just airing out my underwear.
They all know. They've all been around long enough to know.
Probably. You're probably right, actually. I'm either way laid back or way freaking like, what the F, you know? Depends on the mood, I guess. But
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to think about it too much, but yeah,
I
that's
don't.
basically the deal right there.
I don't think about much of anything anymore.
Yeah, you do. Don't lie.
Okay, I do.
But yeah, the thing that is most annoying about that whole situation isn't that he decided he didn't want to associate, because that's fine. It's that he lied about it.
Not your
If,
echo.
if
I'm
I had said
playing.
something that really offended him and he had said, "Look, I ain't hanging out with you anymore. I think you're a whatever," I'd have been like, "Well, F you then, man. Whatever."
I'm
But
playing on a European server at the new version, waiting for the new expansion to come out.
I don't know why you're even telling me. You know how I feel about that game.
Not your echo asked me.
Oh, sorry.
It's just me and mom talk about WoW. So yeah,
You and mom?
mom loves WoW.
Oh, I have to call her later. Ask her what happened to her.
That's her favorite game.
I don't know. Like, has she been wandering up in the mountains there and got replaced by a freaking
She,
shapeshifter or something?
she likes collecting the mounts. She's always liked collecting the
Are
mounts.
you sure that's mom and
Uh
not
huh.
some kind of skinwalker?
Yeah, it's been like this before she moved to Kentucky.
I don't know.
She likes playing with Odie and them.
Could be an evil spirit pretending to be mom.
Yeah, I play retail WoW.
When I went up there, I told her to keep her freaking curtains drawn at night. And she's like, "Oh, yeah." So for all we know, she's done been tucked over by a demon or a witch.
She's always loved playing WoW, dude.
She knows the rules. She just chooses not to follow them out of stubbornness.
All my dwarves' names start with a K. I got Crunt, Cront, Cranked.
Of course, you're playing dwarves.
Yeah.
I, for whatever reason, have always despised the whole idea of WoW. And I tried to play it numerous times. I was convinced into, well, try it now. It's better. And I went back and I tried it, and I was like, yeah, I hate this game.
You only hate it because other people like it.
No,
It's your
no, I'm not
that's
that
your
kind of
hip
edgy. I'm not that kind of edgy guy, and you know that.
that's your hipsterism coming out.
See, you're just saying that to be mean, and I hope you feel glad about yourself because you know you're lying.
Yeah, you just don't like WoW, and that's cool. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
I
I'm
don't
not
like
gonna
it. You know what game I like?
DAOC.
Dark Age of Camelot. Best game ever. The only game I played for like 8 years straight. Every other game is just a pale piece of shit compared to that game.
That is true. That is true. I will agree with you.
And the problem is now the vast majority of people on all the DAOC servers are French speakers, because apparently that game is super popular with the Quebecois, or maybe they're actually French. I don't know. And so if you're a English or Anglo person and you want to play Dark Age of Camelot, it's actually kind of hard now because
I play WoW on a German server.
To find English speaking people to play with.
I play on a German server on WoW.
Ah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because my neighbor and his dad and
Did you see that video I sent you that's like a remake of the Hives?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that day.
I do believe I told you so. All right. I was like, AI is getting out of hand, man. These freaking Sasquatch Yeti videos are like,
they're just crazy. The new thing is Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, where the guy's walking out of the high school and the Asian dude's leaning against the car. But it's like they're changing who or what the car is. Like he walks out, there's the boys from Supernatural. where there's like Goku standing on a cloud. I mean,
Uh, I
it's
need to
just
look. I need to look those ones up. But the other one I've been watching has been like people in the United States government, like random, like Trump or Hesketh or whoever, doing the Crip Walk to
yeah.
Ice Cube's "Keep It Gangsta." So you got like Trump in the freaking White House Crip walking and shit, and it's just like,
The
this
last one
AI
I've
shit is
seen,
getting out of hand, man.
the last one I see was the Fuhrer getting out of a Mercedes,
Well, I mean,
Fast and the Furious.
the Fast and Furious. Um, I love the Bigfoot ones.
Yeah.
He always makes friends with some random animal, and then at some point he eats it.
Well, I'm going to bed, brother. I love you.
So you go to bed then.
I'll talk at you tomorrow.
I don't know. Will you?
I hope so.
It's always up to you. You know that.
If I'm lucky.
I do believe I actually like that song by the Hives.
Yeah.
Do I want? No, because I wanna. Andre probably might know the one band I listened to, one of their songs too, but I think they're from Belarus. But it was back during the Soviet Union, and like the dude on the keyboard's wearing a Hawaiian shirt and like these really funky looking glasses, and he's like a big dude like me. And it's like they're singing about the sun being gone and all that. It's like Soviet era goth music. It's pretty badass. Which, I mean, I'll tell you what, some of the oblasts over there, they're making some badass banger ass goth music, like Sudno, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Moloch Doma. Yeah, the song Sudno, that shit is freaking. I like all of their stuff, you know. And I found it on accident because I was listening to unknown artist singing "Don't Tell Mama I'm in Chechnya," and that came on. Sudno came on, and I was listening to that, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is good! Like really, really good," you know. And the whole song's about an old man in like a retirement home waiting to die. It's so freaking depressing, you know. But yeah. And then the other one, they've got the Russian version and the English version. You can listen to both versions. It's just like, you know, heavy sky above me, you know, and all that. And it's just like, the sun is dead. Na, 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 na. Anyway, if you don't like goth music, you're probably like thinking, yeah, that sounds like trash. Or like old school prog rock or whatever. But I got the Arkham book, setting book for 7th edition, Call of Cthulhu. And my wife bought it for me. And the other day, just to test out the printer, I printed out the newspaper handouts because I couldn't get the printer to work. It's really weird. The printer would not work for my wife's computer, will not work for this computer, but will work for my other computer. And, you know, because on my wife's computer and this computer kept saying error, I got on the air computer and said print, no problem. I'm just like, what? Check out. I think you've told me about Slaughter to Prevail. However, every time you say Viking, I think of the Russian movie from like 2016 or whatever, Viking, about Vladimir of the House of Rurik, which I don't know if you've ever seen it. You can watch it in Russian or you can watch it with English dub. And I'll tell you what, it's one of my favorite movies. I watch it all the time. I watch it in English because I can understand about 5 words of Russian, and most of the words I know are curse words anyway. So, I really like it though. It's like the Kievan Rus in the 9th or 10th century, and they're fighting against the Pechenegs or Penachegs. I always mess that up, but basically the steppe warriors that look like Mongols but aren't. And yeah. And then Vladimir goes to Crimea, but they didn't call it Crimea back then. And he besieges Sevastopol, but back then it wasn't called Sevastopol. It was called starts with a C because it was, Greek. But really cool movie. Really, really cool movie. Some wild ass shit goes on in that movie. And then the other one where the guys fight off the Mongolians so that people can evacuate from Kiev. That one's really good too. Well, I learned the swear words in Russian from every time my dad would crack his knuckles working on our car. Because he is one of those guys that likes to curse at inanimate objects or for no reason at all. Whereas I tend to use one curse word, generally speaking, the F word, and usually I use it in a sentence as a way to show an intensity towards the next word or whatever. But my pops, man, he'd be working on something and drop a tool, something wouldn't work. He'd crack his knuckles. It didn't matter. And he would go off on this tirade of Russian curse. And I'd sit there and listen to him go off and just be like, Glenn, wow, okay. It reminds me, now that I sit here and think about it, reminds me of the scene from A Christmas Story where the kid drops the lug nuts in the snow and he's just like, but I never did that. But cool. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, in the Viking one, if that's what we're talking about, yeah, it's like Yaropolk, Oleg, and Vladimir were all sons of some king from somewhere in Scandinavia, somewhere whose last name was Rorik of the House of Rorik, but they had settled Russia. So Yaropolk ruled Kiev. And Oleg ruled somewhere else, and Vladimir was out on the ocean with the Vikings raiding. And then they get into a war with the guy from Novgorod or whatever and end up burning that shit to the ground. And there's a lot of wild stuff in it. And then in the end, Vladimir converts to Orthodox Christianity and becomes the king of all of the Kievan Rus and basically converts the whole nation. And to this day, which Andre knows, there's a big statue of Vladimir in Crimea because that's where he was baptized. So just interesting old history stuff. I like that kind of stuff. Like last night I watched Outlaws Code, I think is what they call it now. But the first time I watched it, it was called A Siberian Tale. And it's got John Malkovich in it playing the grandfather of a clan of Siberian criminals that live in a town called Riverbank. And he's grandfather Kuzia. And then there's that crazy dude that played the devil in John Constantine's in it as the master of tattoos. And, and it's got all that weird, 80s Russian stuff where they all get tattoos to show like different, you know, things they've done. So like there's a part where they kill a guy and then Kolima has to read his body, and Kolima can read his whole past by the tattoos on him. And you know, and they find out he's a spy for the cops. Or in that movie they called them Black Seed. And the Siberians hate them like with a passion, you know. Consider them to be like the worst, you know. But grandfather Kuzia calls himself an honest criminal, you know. And they have weird rules in the movie that I don't know if are true or not, because what the F do I know about Siberians? But like they can't bring money into the house because they consider money to be like dirty, like filthy. So you never bring money in the house. They always keep it outside somewhere. And they never deal with drugs because that's like right off the list. You know, they don't, as Kuzia says, they don't pollute their own communities and stuff like that. So yeah. And they keep a corner with all their icons, and they keep a knife in the corner, you know, the red corner, they call it. It could all be totally made up BS for all I know, but it's a good show. If you ever, I think it's on like one of the streaming services, but it has like 4 names depending on where you are, where it was released. It's either like Deadly Code or Siberian Code or whatever, you know. And it's just all about, I guess, Andre, you would know. There was a time when the government of the Soviet Union decided to take a lot of the people they'd sent to Siberia into the gulags and move them back to Western Russia so they could keep an eye on them. And so they put all these Georgians and Siberians and whatnot all together in this area. And it was basically a giant slum, you know, that the army tried to patrol, and everybody in there was pretty much a criminal. They were always, you know, to one degree or another, they were, you know, thieves or whatever they were doing. So that's kind of the movie. If you ever get a chance to see it, it's worth watching. But otherwise, you may have noticed I didn't stream for a few days. That last time I was streaming, when all of a sudden my camera went out, it took me forever to get this computer to read my camera again and my mic. And my other computer won't do it. It keeps saying there's no audio device, blah, blah, blah. And I'm such a Luddite that I don't exactly know how to fix it. So I need to wait for my younger daughter to eventually come over, which who knows when that'll be. She's got a very young child, and she just gave birth like less than a year ago. So, you know, she's busy with that. But so that's what I have been up to, you know, the whole thing. And as always, Hyperborea. I seen somebody did a video the other day talking about what I said this exact thing, and then I seen another guy saying it in the video after. So I guess great minds really do think alike. That Hyperborea may be the D&D Gary Gygax would have written if he were still with us, as opposed to all the different types of D&D we've gotten, you know. But yeah, IT problem. And believe me, Mobius, I did turn it off and turn it back on. That was the first thing I did, because that's all I know about IT problems, to make sure it's plugged in and to turn it off and turn it on. And I was talking, the screen went white, came back, and then it went white again, and then the camera was gone. It was like, is this computer? I mean, it's not overheating. I can feel that. So I'm like, is maybe graphic cards going out or something? Which this computer I'm on right now has got to be a decade old anyway. It's an old Dell or some shit like that. Yeah, it's a Dell. The new one, I believe, is an Acer. And they're not like super powerful computers. They're like, I paid $500 or $600 for them computers, so they're decent. But did I kick it? Yeah, that's what I should have done, right? Kicked it, gave it the old physical, jolt to knock it back into order. I mean, it worked with the Millennium Falcon, so maybe it'll work with this piece of shit Dell. But let's see. Tell you what, some of the guys have been posting some freaking rough memes too. I love them. I think Modifius posted a few. There's Modifius. Are you really going to spend another full day making fun of Canada? And you just see the guy from Gangs of New York. It's like, yeah. Yeah. Like, U.S. Canada. That's funny, Mobius. This got a skinny chick is Canada, which makes sense. That reads. And a heavy hottie for U.S. That reads. And then just some crazy little girl firing a 50 cal into the sky. Mexico. Yeah, we're playing hockey. The Mexicans are just blowing their whole country to shit. Malachi's got a point too. We have a right to be happy. It's been 47 effing years since we got gold in hockey. So I think everybody will understand why we're a little stoked, The last time we got gold was against the Soviets. And that country don't even exist anymore. So, or the government doesn't anyway. So, yeah, I think everybody can forgive us for being a little happy about it. Crown Royal Reserve, 12 years. Okay, I see where you guys are talking about his. See, all of my Crown Royal bags are purple. I ain't got that kind of Crown Royal red bag money to throw around like that. The last time I bought good whiskey was 10 years ago, and I still got half a bottle, and it's Lagavulin. Lagavulin, when I bought it, it was 12, so now it's like 22-year-old Scotch, because the simple fact is I don't drink that much Scotch. As a matter of fact, I don't drink that much anything. The last time I got good and properly lit online, I was drinking vodka with the while being part of the Legion of Myth thing, and I'd done about 10 or 12 of these shots. Hold on a second. I'll show you. No, I hit the wrong button. I did about 10 or 12 of these, because this is the vodka glass that my dad gave me. And so I think that's about one shot. It might be 1.5. I don't know. But I was feeling that, And I wasn't drinking Russian vodka. I was drinking Stoli, and I think Stoli's made in like Lithuania or Estonia or somewhere. And it was straight, no chaser. I was just pounding them back. You know what I'm saying? And because remember a long time ago when Legion of Myth used to do that thing where it was like every time Max said the name of that freaking game by FASA, everyone had to drink. I don't even remember the name of that game because I never played it. I played Shadowrun, but I never played that game that he loved so much. And on that particular night, boy, people were saying the name of that game a lot, and I was just pounding shots and woo. The good thing is back then I was 300 pounds, so it's not like I was going to get alcohol poisoning. And I woke up the next day, not a slight bit of a hangover. I got up, had my coffee, everything was fine, you know. I found in my life the hangovers come when you like mix really sweet stuff. Yeah, it's the one, man, or Earth Dung. And this would be like maybe over a year ago. It was a long time ago. And it was like back when Max would go on rants and I'd be on the show a lot. And, which the only reason I stopped being on Max's show is because he wanted to take it more professional. And I'm no good at being professional, you know? I'm just not. Like, and I'm not like in any way upset that Max wanted to like be more professional with his show, but that's just not the game I play. So, you know, I'm not going to stop in and be like away. I'm just going to let him do what he wants with his channel. But I'll tell you what, it was Max and Bruce and myself. And I think we were all hammered, man. Every one of us was hammered, I believe. It was one of those. And it was like somebody would say Earth Down and be like, drink. And I have a half gallon of Stoli at the time I used to have, and I just pour them out and boom. And it was like, oh goodness. Yeah, if you can't make fun of yourself, man. I make fun of myself all the time. But yeah, Ultra American, man. He must have got like a birthday or something, some birthday money from his grandma or grandpa or something to be able to afford that. I mean, that's some stuff right there. Do what I want, yes again, yes, cause I'm gonna dun, 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 be ignored by the stiff and the bored because I wanna. I do believe I told you so. All right. All right. Okay, let me look at this real quick. I'm looking at something real quick. So, please, excuse. Okay, I need to stop something. This needs to stop and go away. Excuse. Earth Dawn. Yeah, I saw that hanging on the wall of the comic shop. I visit all or used to visit a lot. Not so much anymore, like 30 years ago or 40 years ago. And I thought, oh, and the guy who was worked there was like, yeah, it's like Shadowrun, but like in the past. And I was like, I just play Shadowrun because back then Shadowrun was one of my really like between I'd say 89 and 90 something. I played a shit ton of Shadowrun. The early 90s. We had a guy that hung out and we played like second edition. And he had like all the books, Native American Nations and the Street Samurai Guidebook and all that shit. And we would get together every weekend at his trailer because he lived in a trailer park like a quarter of Florida does. And this dude was really good at running Shadowrun games. He was one of those guys that just knew the rules, you know, and man, we've just played the hell out of Shadowrun. I still have very fond memories of hanging out with that dude and playing Shadowrun. You know who I mean? He was Yeah. But Earth Dawn, nah. Never, no Earth Dawn. No Earth Dawns. Only Shadowruns. And a lot of people talk shit about Shadowrun, but I personally really enjoyed that game. Second edition. The newer ones, I don't think I like at all. Second edition is freaking pretty awesome. Not a fan of the new stuff though. And it's not because I'm some kind of weird old grognard. It's I've talked about this multiple times. I don't like how they in later versions of the game they add like the technomancers and shit like that, and I just do not like it. And people are like, and my reason is I don't like the fact that they mix magic and technology that way, right? And I know that sounds weird when you're talking about Shadowrun, 2058 or whenever it is, right? That we're playing. But the thing with Shadowrun is if you were Street Samurai, you were a Street Samurai. That was just it. You typically did not have magic. And even if you tried to have magic, you would have sucked so bad at it because of your, you would either suck at the magic or suck at just being the Street Samurai, right? But when they start adding these like hybrid magicians that can jump the net and do shit there and all that, I was like, I'm out. I'm done. And that's also the reason I hate physical adepts. What's up, homie?
Hey, what's going on, man? I just took a little bit of a nap and I saw that you were on. So I haven't seen you in a little bit. So I thought I'd jump in.
I haven't streamed in like 3 or 4 days. My computer jacked up last time I was on, and took me a while to figure out. Well, I still don't know what went on. But it's working technology. Now, so,
What's going on with you, man? What's happening?
I was just bitching about later editions of Shadowrun.
Oh, I'll bitch about every edition of Shadowrun.
See, I won't, because first, second, and maybe even third were pretty good. But I don't like the physical adept, and I hate the technomancers and all that shit. Because the only one who should be running the net is the net runner. A mage should not be able to use magic to inject themselves into the net.
I really like what Arcana did with magic, where magic and technology did not like each other and interfered with each other. I think that would be a cooler way to handle that.
That's how it was in original Shadowrun. See, in original Shadowrun, you had an essence score, right? Kind of like how in Cyberpunk you have like a humanity or whatever. And the more tech you put in your body, the lower your score would go, because literally you were losing your humanity, whatever, right? And your ability to use magic was based on that.
Oh, okay.
So to be a mage, you could not have cyberware if you want to be a good mage. Because if your essence is shitty, when you try to cast spells, there's a greater chance you're going to cause yourself spellburn and just kill yourself. So even though magic and technology existed, they were separated by that wall. Now I want to try to play some weird hybrid. I have magic and whatever, and they sucked every time. It was like Gratch. You made a character that sucks at everything. If you want to play a Sam, no magic. You're just going fucking wide reflexes, good coat. Wide ref freaking submachine gun you can carry. If you're a human, if you're a troll like Haas's Street Sam, then you're not worrying about any of that shit, and you're carrying around a Panther autocannon because you're a troll and you can do that, and just blow people up with literally like a 30 millimeter.
Did they actively interfere with each other? Because in Arcana, they if they try to take a train, the mages have to be in the caboose. Because just being near the engine could like
Being near
cause
the
problems.
technology would not stop a mage from being able to cast anything. It just separated what things you could do.
Okay.
And it was a pretty hard thing. I mean, like, okay, you could play a mage that spent like 0.01 or 0.1 essence to have cybernetic eyes, and maybe that wouldn't be a horrible thing. But if you went, if you started losing actual points of essence, every time you did, you were screwing yourself out of being a mage. There was one class called the Burned Out Mage, which was a guy who used to be a mage, but had effed himself up so bad casting magic, they stopped being a mage and just started getting cyberware. Because, I mean, in Shadowrun, you actually channel the energy through your nervous system to cast spells. And if you F up on your... after you cast a spell, you have to you have to roll a soak roll to try and ride out the energy you just threw you. And if you F it up really bad, I mean, you could kill yourself. Because you could burn your own nervous system out. I mean, bad things happen, right? So I guess every now and then, if you're a mage that effed up enough that your essence is so low that you can't use magic anymore, you'll just go ahead and grab a little bit of cyberware and try to make it through the day, but not what you want to be.
Wheel of Time had a magic system like that where you could like damage yourself and wind up getting cut off if you like lost control or something.
Right. That's Warhammer too. In Warhammer, all magic comes from the most evil place ever. And you have to fight to control it. And if you mess up bad enough, you can just die.
Is Warhammer and 40K supposed to be related in some way?
Originally, they kind of led you to believe that they might be, because in like Rogue Trader, they had rules for playing your fantasy army versus Space Marine army. But then later, I think 3rd edition, they said they were two completely different universes. And they didn't touch it all, even though they both start the same exact way with the amphibious, reptilian, toad-looking Slann being like the first race that came out and created other. But yeah, they changed all that shit, and the fact that the same chaos gods exist in both and whatever, but yeah, so I mean, it's whatever they want to be given, whichever day of the week it is.
Yeah.
It's like, but in that one, you study and learn magic, but one of the things a mage can do in that game is you have like wizard sight, and it allows you to kind of see what types of magical energy are flowing around you. And then depending on what kind of mage you are, because humans can only ever use one kind of magic, and there's like 9 total, that'll determine how likely you are to get spells to work. And then, of course, since you are literally tapping into the forces of chaos, if a good example is if you roll like the worst critical ever, you just rip a hole through reality and a demon comes out and eats you. And maybe goes on a rampage and destroys, half of a kingdom, That's kind of what Warhammer does. Now in 40K, they don't call it magic, they call it being a psyker. But at the end of the day, it works very similar. The main thing being that since the warp in 40K is made up of psionic energy instead of, just a hellscape of chaos, demons in the warp can see psychically active humans very clearly across that, membrane between there and here. Like a normal human barely shows up even as a tiny little light to a warp entity, but a psyker will show up as a beacon. And warp entities will gather around a psyker waiting for any weakness so that they can slip into it. And then they'll work a psyker like a puppet. You know what I mean? and try to get him to open up a portal or do some horrible shit.
Yeah.
So that's why the Emperor, in his wisdom, outlawed psychers. But then, of course, as soon as he got taken out by Horus, the Space Marines were like, "Nah, we're using psychers again." So, yeah, at the Treaty of Nicaea, the God Emperor said no psychers in any of the legions. It was too dangerous, and that's what caused Magnus the Red to rebel, as he was a psyker, a very powerful one. And all of his sons were very powerful psychers. And even though the Emperor said no to psychers, he kept doing it.
Yeah.
And it led to a lot of bad stuff, Now in fantasy, you have the different winds of magic. Dwarves can't use magic at all. They're separated from magic. And nor can halflings. Elves, whether they're wood, high, or dark elves, they can use all 9 winds of magic. And what they do is they can either use the different winds of magic however they want, or they can combine different aspects of the magic to make their own kind of magic. So like a high elf can use high magic, and dark elves can use dark magic, which is a combination of whatever, right? But humans, because the human's brain is so stupid, in the Warhammer universe, because our brains are so limited compared to a elf, we have to focus on one wind, and it'll take most of your lifetime to actually master that one wind. Whereas like an elf like Teclis, the Archmage, he can use high magic to literally explode mountain ranges and shit. Because, elves, there's so much better at everything are,
Elves are lame.
And then you've got the clan, which are basically giant frogs that the lizard men carry around on falcons. And they can use like every kind of magic. They can do whatever they want. And then chaos can use chaos magic. But usually they specialize in like a particular deity's kind of magic. You know what I mean? So like if they worship Tzeentch, they're going to do Tzeentch shit, like change and mutation or whatever. So, but the main thing is, before I went off on this freaking off ramp, is that it works like you said, regardless of what magic you're using. You focus it through you, and if you mess up, it can cook you or do other super horrible things. And then the game Leth is in now with Bloodworth, Deadlands. Every time you use magic, you have to play a 5-card draw hand against a demon. They call it a Manitou, but it's a demon. And you have to beat the demon at a game of cards in order for your magic to work. And if a joker shows up, oh my goodness. Bad things. Yeah.
Speaking of bad things, I got this little beast here trying to eat me.
Yeah, one of my players was playing a huckster, and the joker came up and he got possessed, and he went on like, oh, little baby. He went on like a murder spree. He's biting you. He's like giving you some love bites. But he went on a murder spree and did a bunch of horrible shit. And then after the demon left him, because it only had a period of time, he got arrested by local marshals and they hanged him for all the horrible shit he did while he's possessed. And it's just like,
what are you gonna do?
I mean, it's just what happens. You knew the risk, Like Leonard Cohen says, everybody knows the game is loaded or whatever, but everybody knows the dice are loaded, but they roll with their fingers crossed. Oh. And everyone knows that the war is over, and everybody knows that the good guys lost. Everybody knows the match was fixed. The poor stay poor and the rich get rich. That's how it goes. You ever heard that song? And
Yeah, who is that?
everybody knows. Leonard Cohen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the earliest songs where they mention AIDS. Because there's one verse where he talks about how you're sitting in bed with a monitor above your head because there were so many people you just had to see without your clothes, and everybody knows. Yeah, that's a rough song, you know.
When did that come out?
Oh shit. Late 80s or mid 80s, maybe 90s.
For some reason, I thought it was like a much older song.
It might be 70s even.
Oh.
It was mostly made popular by a movie that starred Christian Slater.
Oh yeah, freaking he has the pirate radio station.
Yeah.
Pump Up the Volume. That was it.
And every night when his radio station would start, that's the song he started with. Yeah. Old Black Joe's still picking cotton for your ribbons and bows, and everybody knows. I mean, it's a rough song, man. It's very nihilistic. He's the same guy that did Hallelujah, First Manhattan, Berlin. Like he had a lot of hits, and then he just got old. I mean, he was old when he started, so you know, in the 70s he was probably 50 or 60, you know. So, and then a lot of people started doing remakes. So you've got like Jeff Buckley does Hallelujah. Some guy that sang for Disney did Hallelujah for like the Shrek movie. Poorly compared to Jeff Buckley, in my opinion, but you know, whatever. That's the song that most people remake, Hallelujah.
Yeah, I've heard dozens of versions of that.
And they almost always change a verse. Because in the original, there's a verse where he says, "Remember when I moved in you and the Holy Spirit was moving too." He's talking about banging a chick. So, of course, Disney had to change that shit. You know, like, interesting thing about Hallelujah. We're not 100% sure what it means. But we do know it means like a lot of things. You know what I mean? It's one of those words that's like super holy, but we're not 100% sure.
Yeah, where
like,
it came from. The etymology.
Yeah, like it's like its own thing, you know. I do a lot of research on stuff like that. Like sometimes you'll see people, especially like my good buddies that hang out down on Paramore, the Black Egypt or the Black Israelites, and they'll talk about Yeshua, but the man they're referring to never existed because Jesus is his name in Greek, and Greek was the lingua franca of that region at that time. And the Hebrew language was long dead by the birth of Christ. The priests might have known some Hebrew prayers, but in day-to-day conversation, they spoke Aramaic or Greek, and then later Latin. You know what I mean? But a lot of people who don't study these things, they don't know this. Like, yeah, what we call Hebrew in the modern day, we have no idea if that's what that is. That's a made-up language.
Oh, weird.
because Hebrew was a dead language 3,000 years ago. And that's why modern day Hebrew sounds so much like German. Like we don't even know, because the original Hebrew was written, they didn't have vowels.
They were just
in
so
the
weird to
language.
me.
Yeah, there's no vowels. So if I were to write what, it would be WHT. And then it's up to you to figure out what the hell that means in context with the sentence it's in, right? So technically, we don't even know what the language would have sounded like, let alone anything else. You know
Yeah,
what I
there's a
mean?
bunch of old languages that they have that they've translated somewhat in writing, but like no idea how they. Even Latin, there's a lot of debate on how much like the Latin that gets taught now sounded like actual Roman Latin.
Right. The closest thing we know to Roman Latin would be Romanian. And even that is like, really, it's been 2,000 years of language drift. So, but the Romanian language is derived from the language the Romans spoke.
But
But
then so is
that's like
French
saying,
and Spanish and Portuguese and Italian, and they're
right.
like
That's like
wildly
saying
different from
modern
each other.
English versus Saxon English. It's like, nah, not the same thing at all. But I actually love languages, the idea of them. I think I told you the other day, since I'm just rapping a little bit with you about shit, like the birth of the Slavs. Catch you later, Mobius. You have a great one, man. And better luck next year. Anyway, I forget who I was talking about, but like the whole Slavic thing. Like, where did the Slavs come from? And when they came into the region, where did all the people like the Scythians and all that lived there go? And it turned out that the Slavs were some tribe, and the Slavic language is just so easy to learn that what ended up happening is they showed up, and whether it was Scythians, Vikings, Poles, whatever it was, they adopted the language. And then because they all spoke the same language, even though technically they were all very different ethnicities, they just all become the Slavs. And then the Poles speak a slightly different language because they integrated a lot of Scythian into it. And, the Balkans are the same way because of, the different, the primary Proto-Slavic plus, Roman and Greek and whatever created, Serbian and whatever. And so it's really interesting. It's like those tribes, like the Thracians and all that, they didn't vanish. They didn't get wiped out. They just start speaking a different language. And then they become that, like the Macedonians are Slavs. But
I remember when they first, when modern Macedonia, this was in the like late 80s, early 90s, when they founded modern Macedonia, the Greeks were so pissed off. I remember I was in Washington, D.C., and they were protesting outside the White House. Like, what are you pissed off? It's like, well, they shouldn't be able to call themselves Macedon. Like, and what are you complaining about here? What do you want them to do? Bomb them? I mean, what are you hoping to accomplish? It was like, but whatever, have your little hissy fit.
and the thing is, I don't know what that Macedonia now is actually where Macedonia was then, but Macedonia then was not where Greek is now. The Greeks are.
Yeah, it was up north. The Greeks never considered them fellow Hellenites. They're like, they're filthy barbarians.
It was, who was it? Alexander's father Philip conquered the Greeks.
Kicked their ass.
And they were from the north, and Alexander had blonde hair. So they might have been Thracian or something that just started speaking a more Slavic language or something. Plus Greek, though, because everybody at that time spoke Greek.
Yeah, they fancied themselves the inheritors of the Greek. culture, and
Yeah,
the
well,
Greeks weren't
the
happy
Greeks,
about that, and still aren't apparently.
yeah, in the modern day, yeah, they're like F them guys. And so like what some Greeks do is they call the Macedonian country Northern Macedonia because they still
Yeah.
want to claim that Macedonia is in Greece. And the Macedonians are like, it's not Northern Macedonia, we're Macedonia. It was never down there, you know. But yeah, one of the first things Alexander had to do when his father was assassinated is put a beating on the
Yeah, they
Greeks.
rebelled immediately.
They immediately rebelled and he rolled down and put a beating on them. And you know, and then a beating on everyone else. But one of my favorite historical characters, honestly, Alexander.
I'm actually a big fan of Pyrrhus, who is apparently a great nephew of Alexander. He was a cool dude.
Isn't he the guy they named Pyrrhic victories
Yeah,
after?
because he famously won several victories against the Romans, but it was like nearly disastrous every time because it was like he would like lose most of his army. He was a neat dude because he became the king of like a dozen different countries and then would get bored and quit because he just wanted to
Right.
run around with his army and like fight shit. That was his only real interest. He'd become king of a country for a while just to basically finance his next military expedition. Be like, okay, I'm out of here. You guys have fun. You figure this out.
Yeah, he ruled a lot of the countries on the other side of the Adriatic. Like you had Italy here, and on that other side, he was, which is now like all part of the Slavic countries, Slovenia and Albania and all that shit.
He
But
was such a bro, though. There was a famous story where this guy gets dragged before him, like, oh, this guy's like been talking all this shit about you. He's like, say you're not a legitimate king. He's like, oh, did he organize a rebellion or anything? They're like, no. Well, then let him go. Well, what do you mean? He's saying you're not the legit. He's like, I don't care what he says. He's nobody. Well, shouldn't we at least banish him? It's like, no, because then he's going to be in our enemy's country talking shit. Let him stay here and mouth off, and I don't care as long as he doesn't do anything. I mean, that was like
right,
such a cool way to handle that. Like, I don't give a fuck. Let the man have his opinion. He's not as soon as he does something. Yeah, we're gonna cut his head off. But
but
if he wants to talk shit, let him talk shit. I don't care.
yeah, what's that guy going to do?
Like,
Just some
yeah, and
guy,
really,
you
it's
know?
sensible
It's
because
like,
it's when you start cutting those people's heads off that everybody starts getting really mad.
yep.
And now what's he gonna do?
And we
Well,
see that throughout
yeah,
history, you know.
he like let you go, and you're still talking about all this shit about him. Yeah, fuck off. Probably took the teeth right out of whatever he was saying too.
Yeah, he's a tyrant, blah blah blah. You get drug in, he's like, nah, let him go. And then what? You're gonna go out in the street and say he's a tyrant after he just
spared your life,
spared you and told you to
which
go
almost
on?
no one else would have done.
No, not at that time, boy. Kings had a tendency of if you look down the wrong way, they'd take you right out. I mean, kings, generally speaking, throughout all of history, just as a rule, were paranoid as shit.
He died a very
And if they thought you were threatening them at all,
he died a very
were
sad death
just
though. He had just conquered some city and some old woman threw a rock at him and fucking killed him from like a roof. It's like, oh, fuck you. It's like bog, just killed his ass. It's kind of a sad way for a great conqueror to go, but
yeah.
Oh well.
I think after Alexander, my favorite ancient general would be Flavius Belisarius. He was the general in Eastern Rome that Justinian sent, and he like defeated the Turks or whoever, and then he crossed the ocean and he reconquered Italy and drove the Germanic tribes out. And then he went to North Africa and he reconquered all of the Roman provinces of North Africa. And then Justinian turned on him and summoned him back to Constantinople because people were telling the emperor that he should fear Belisarius because of how powerful he was becoming.
Yeah,
and as soon as he got summoned back to Eastern Rome, the Germans just came right back down the Italian.
When a government starts like killing each other, that there's a reason they call that Byzantine.
because it was like the problem with the Byzantine Empire, Eastern Rome, as they would have called themselves, is that the more capable you were, the more likely you were to get killed by your boss.
Yeah, it was a very Darth Vader kind of situation.
Yeah, it was like if you were just stupid enough to not ruin anything and not like threaten anybody, you could live a long life. But the second it showed up that you actually knew what the F you were doing, you'd have 20 people plotting your death before dinner, you know? It's like, and that happened to so many people, you know, it's like just the second they would.
And great military commanders, you got to give it to Vlad the Impaler for being the ultimate guy know how to get the fuck off my lawn.
Yeah, there's a joke about he won like the eternal first place for like Halloween decorations or something.
He's the one who did the thing where he like blinded like every 9 prisoners and like every 10th guy got to keep one eye. He like marched him out of the country. It's like, dude.
He impelled so many people that it made a whole fort. And then when the general of the army came up and saw it, he threw up and they turned and left. But the emperor of the Ottomans was kind of impressed with him, like holy shit, you know, that guy is willing to do whatever, you know. So there was kind of like he was impressed, but at the same time, like they sent a guy up to him and from the Ottomans, because it was always him versus the Ottomans.
Yeah, that was
most
thing.
of it.
He was fostered by the Ottomans, wasn't he?
He was, him and his brother. And the Ottoman emissary refused to remove his hat. So Vladimir
nailed it to his head.
Nailed it to his freaking head and sent his body back. And there's this story that they tell where under his rule, every village had like a well, and there would be a golden chalice on the well that anyone could drink out of, right? And they used that to talk about how there was no crime, but they missed the real reason. And the real reason is Muslims, according to their own holy script, cannot drink out of glass vessels. So Vladimir put in the glass vessel, you know, Vlad putting the glass or the gold vessel on the well, that was 2 things he was saying. You know, he was saying it's safe, no one would dare steal it, and 2, Muslims can't drink here, because he really hated the Muslims. Unfortunately, he ended up getting killed by the Orthodox, and they hid where they buried him.
Yeah, he like married a Catholic or something, and they got all fucking.
He married the daughter of the Hungarian king, who was Roman Catholic, and agreed to convert. At which point the Orthodox are like, yeah, you're done. And so it was, but unfortunately, it wasn't long after that the Ottomans actually pretty much conquered the entire Balkans, you know. And then you had pretty much just the Serbs fighting against them for damn near 1,000 years or something, you know. A very long time. And to this day, the Serbs still freaking hate Turks with a white hot passion. They hate them as bad as the Greeks do. And that's a lot, you know. That's a whole lot. They really but I think I might have told you this months ago. During the last census, it turns out there's more Orthodox Christians in Albania than there are Muslims now. And Albania was one of the countries that was really hardcore back during the Yugoslav wars. And they were super Muslim. And now all of a sudden there's more Christians there than Muslims. And I don't know if it's from reproduction or conversion, because like in Iran on the DL, there are tons of Christians.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of there's a fair Jewish population in Iran still.
There is. And of course, the Zoroastrians. because that's where that started.
Yeah, it's
you know?
Freddie Mercury's family. Were
Yeah,
Zoroaster's from
Freddie
there.
Mercury, Fayoud, whatever
Yeah,
his real
Farouk,
name was.
Bolsora or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, they were. You're right. They were worshippers of Zoroastrianism, so they had to keep a flame burning all the time, and it's Zoroastrianism is so close to like what some people call an Abrahamic religion. It's really wild. Like if you think about, it's like they have the good God and the bad God, and they're basically the whole idea of humanity and everything is to prove who's right, kind of. And to make it even more weird, the three magi that visited Christ
we're
when he
supposed
was
to be
born,
Zoroasters. Yeah.
they were Zoroastrians, Zoroastrians, or however you say it. So it's like they knew he was who he was, but they weren't Christian I guess when they left, they were, but when they showed up, they weren't. Like, you know what I mean? They originally had came from
it's the oldest surviving monotheism, isn't it?
I think it's either that or Jainism or something, which is from the same damn area, that region there. And they're very similar. But I think you're right. I think it might be like all of the ancient Persian empires for the longest time. Was their deal right there. Oh, we got PB.
Hey, what's up, Paul?
PB?
What's going on?
I haven't complained about your video, even though I did compliment it.
Oh shit!
It's too short.
It's a little short. Yeah. And one thing my brother said is he'd like to see links because there's too many people that do that kind of thing, and the whole source is trust me, bro. And I was like, yeah, you got a point. There's a lot of that on the internet, so I'll probably have to add in.
Yeah, I would say trust me, bro, or shut the fuck up and get out of here. I'm not going to link everything I say. I ain't got time for your fucking
that's the problem.
Twitter bullshit.
That's the problem is even with Grok AI help or Google or any of that shit, they're like, where are you getting this info from exactly? And it's like, well, I was personal experience because I was a backer on one of his projects, and I was hunting him down after he pretty much defrauded us. But yeah.
And the reason I say what I say, and I don't mean to sound as fired up as I probably sounded, is because I used to debate a lot, say 10, 15 years ago when like YouTube atheism was a thing. Right. And I hate trying to debate somebody and you'll say something that's common fucking knowledge to everybody. Right. And they're like, well, I need some citations on that. And it's a game they're playing. They're arguing not in good faith.
No, well,
they're trying to F with you with you have to prove every single word. I'm not going to
take any source you do cite, they're going to question the legitimacy.
They're going to argue. Right. And then they don't want to provide sources for you on anything.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, that's why I'm not worried about it because nobody.
I did that long enough that now the whole citation needed thing, I'm just like, fuck yourself. Right. I don't even want to talk to you anymore.
Right.
I mean, if we're two adult human beings having a debate about something, there has to be a level of honesty and trust there so that we can actually talk about things without, if you don't trust me at all, why would you debate me?
Right.
Yeah. Plus, you can find a citation to back up any crazy thing you say, as Wikipedia will prove.
Mm-hmm.
that is my whole issue with that whole citations. It's like, I'm sure some people do it because they literally want to read the thing and know for themselves, and they're probably good faith actors, some of them. Mm-hmm. But so many of them are using that as a tactic.
Oh yeah.
To just try to blow the argument up, and
it puts all the workload on you, is what it is. They're not going to waste their time; they're just going to bog you down, So
right. So there are, I would argue, there's some good ones that just want to know, and those ones, if I feel like they really want to know, I would link them scripture, whatever we're talking about, sure. But you can tell the ones that are just assholes. At which point, I'm like, I'm not debating you.
There's the ones that constantly overload you with bullshit citations.
Right.
Like I can't remember his name. Or we called him Black Hitler or Black Goebbels. That little gay black kid. Do you remember him? He was everywhere on the internet for a while, and he'd be citing all like these scientific sources, these studies that would prove white people were evil. And then if you went and actually looked at it and be like, that's not at all what this is saying. But he just like, he would
Doesn't
throw
say
it out
that.
there so his like fans could just be like, oh, well, it must
You
be
know,
true.
Well, you
It's
had
gotta be
him.
true,
You had
yeah.
Talcum X. I don't know if you remember Talcum
Oh
X.
my God, that guy, yeah.
And then you had the Amazing Atheist, who was just a fat fuck from Maine who got mad because his dad died of cancer.
And
Right.
had some very weird relations with fruit, so the stories go.
Yes. And then you had Thunderfoot, who actually could debate really well, but he always leaned on his biology degree too much, and it'd be like, you're still not answering the question. Okay, I hear you. Biology, it exists. I got you. But you can't prove anything you just said. Well, we think is like, but you can't prove it.
Right.
So me and you are at the same spot. Neither one of us can prove shit. And he and I think, was it him or another one of those guys that got fucked by the hey, let's invite the feminists to our atheist party. And then they had what do they call it? Elevator gate.
Oh yeah,
Because some dude
was
asked
that
some
Dawkins
ugly
and that
feminist-
Rebecca Watson twat?
asked some ugly feminist if she wanted to come to his room for coffee, and she immediately went off like he tried to rape her in the freaking elevator or some shit. And that blew Atheism Plus up, and that basically killed atheism online. Not that the other side didn't have some crazy people, because we had Venom X and some of those dudes that were like hardcore, like the Earth is 6,000 years old, blah 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 guys. And it was just like, wow, you know. And so that was a weird time on.
Know what
YouTube,
really freaked me out
basically.
recently? Joe Rogan had Roger Avery on, and I liked a bunch of his movies, and so I started watching this, and he's going on. He's like a flat earther, and it's like I can't even watch this. I can't listen to another word you say now. And he wouldn't even commit to it. He was like, "Well, you know," it's like, dude,
Yeah.
go for it or don't. But Jesus Christ, this isn't helping.
Because every other
The whole flat Earth thing was settled literally like 4,000
You
years
can
ago.
literally, with a cell phone and a pair of sticks and a friend, prove the Earth is round.
That's what the Greeks did. That's what the Greeks did. Like they planted a stick in Egypt and a stick in somewhere in Greece.
And he got it within like, I think, a couple 100 miles, like under 200 miles.
Which is why it's so funny when they talk about the Catholic Church getting mad at Galileo or whatever.
It wasn't for the side.
It wasn't
He started interpreting scripture. That's what got him in trouble. He tried to link his stuff up with scripture. That's what pissed them off.
Right. Because I guess for a while, everyone knew the Earth was round, but they thought that the sun rotated around the Earth or something. And then people started being like, actually, no, the Earth is the one doing the moving. But yeah, the flat, Lovecraft wrote a story where he kind of, and of course it's a story, he didn't believe it, but he kind of says that the Earth is like flat.
We have Frozen James syndrome.
We think is Antarctica.
Oh, there you are.
There I am. That we think is Antarctica, but it's actually a giant wall. And there's a gap in the wall, and on the other side of the wall is more Earth, and that's where the old ones live. Now, that's obviously fantastical, made up bullshit, right? He knew it was. We knew it was. It's kind of a cool story. You're going on a trip to it, you know, Antarctica, and you find like a gap in the ice, and next thing you know, you're in this whole other world with temples devoted to Cthulhu and shit like that. That's cool, but people who live today, and it's like, you know, people have been on the moon, right?
Yeah.
There's people in space right now looking down on the Earth.
Right.
There's airplanes that can go from New York to Moscow by going over the North Pole. So literally, what are you talking about? This is insane. But people believe all kinds of weird shit.
I wonder how much.
One's the one that's the most obviously stupid, though.
Yeah, I wonder how many of these flat earthers are just trolls, though. It's got to be a fair number of them who are just being dicks.
I think the generous part of me thinks most of them.
Because why is none of them put together an expedition to go find the edge and take some pictures? You know,
Hmm.
Hollow Earth could be a different thing. I'm not willing to immediately say no to that, even though I'm not going to say yes either. But Flat Earth is an absolute immediate no.
well, it is kind of hollow and it's full of molten fucking lava.
Yeah, there's no.
If you get
Gotta
into
go
the
hang out
Agartha thing, they talk about there could be gigantic caverns down there. Well, I'm from Kentucky. Guess what? We got tons of gigantic caverns directly
Right.
under the mountains. So could there be some shit down there? I don't know. I mean, if you take a tour of Mammoth Cave, some of the tours are miles long. You actually board a boat for part of the tour because you go down a river under, and there's so much of Mammoth Cave that quite a lot of it's not even explored entirely. You know what I'm saying? And it stretches like miles. And there's that cave system in, I think, Russia that they went down at least a mile down. And they were just like, they never explored all of it. They went down it. It took them 3 days to get from the surface to the bottom. And they had to stop on the descent and like sleep on like shelves, like that they found. And this is like real true stuff. It's this cave, I guess, is near Lake Baikal, which is, of course, the biggest, deepest freshwater lake in the whole world.
I didn't think they sent anybody down there. I thought because what the problem they were having, they sent like a probe down there because you have to drill and then you have to just keep reattaching, kind of like when you're drilling for oil. But they had to make a special alloy because steel underneath the amount of pressures, because once you start going below ocean level, you're hitting like multipliers of atmospheric pressure to where steel would just shatter.
Right.
So they had to keep drilling and drilling this alloy, and they found odd shit. Like, I forgot how far they dug, but it was far. Because that was in the 80s. I think it was in 1980.
Yeah, the mountain I'm talking about is near the Altai mountain region. And so in that area of Russia.
Gotcha.
And a lot of people argue, even though I don't know that it's true, but because of how some of the cracks are so regular, that it's an artificial thing. And it took the spelunkers 3 days to traverse from the entrance to the floor. And then they didn't get to explore too much. And then they had to come back up.
Gotcha.
And no, Lake Baikal is its own, Lake Baikal. That's its own freaking thing right there.
Yeah,
Some of the shit, the stories that come out of there.
There's a lake somewhere in Antarctica too, where there's water under a shitload of ice, and they think it's been frozen over like tens of millions of years, and they're constantly debating whether or not to drill into it, but they're like, they can't figure out a way to do it without contaminating it.
Well, what if it contaminates us?
Yeah. And have you heard about these people who like go on those glacier tours and they like drink the glacier melt and then they die of some like hideous fucking disease that nobody can even identify? Because it's like, that water has been frozen since before humans existed. Bacteria can live forever.
I've heard
frozen.
Super deep borehole, which is like miles deep. It's like a foot across, but it's like miles deep.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
It up and everything because they're just like F this shit,
Yeah, because I'm looking. That's what I was watching it yesterday. That's the one that I was referencing there because they went down almost 13 kilometers.
Yeah,
just straight down. Yeah.
And really superstitious people claim that when they lowered a mic down, they heard like screaming and shit. But
yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but that's what people tell legends about things. That
was their 3 brain cells strangling each other to death. That's what that screaming was. It was dummies.
But
fucking goblins.
Shit, the sleaze stacks are killing each other again.
I don't think there's goblins in Russia. There are in Kentucky.
Well, they're called Kentuckians, aren't they?
No, man, look it up. In like the 40s, there was a whole shootout between a family of hillbillies and a bunch of Kentucky goblins, as they called them.
Well, weird shit happens at Waffle House.
Yeah. Supposedly they were like 3 or 4 feet tall and super pale and blah blah. So they could have been the moon-eyed people the Cherokee talked about. I don't know what the hell they were. Or maybe everybody in the house was just drunk as shit off of bad moonshine.
Did you ever listen to that 911 call of the guy who was driving his pickup truck and he thought a rake jumped into the back of it while he was driving? And he was freaking out because he was driving through the woods. It was crazy because he started.
Rake. Are you talking about the Pell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
Oh,
pale crawler. Yeah. And he was like, "It's not human!" And the 911 caller's like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" It was pretty funny. I was like, "That's interesting." It seemed fake to me, but I was like, "It'd be funny if it was real." Like, yeah, some good
Is
old
this
boy
Hunter
was just-
Thompson again?
Yeah.
Pull over, get some sleep.
Yeah.
No, my favorite one.
We can't
was
stop
where
here. This is
The guy
backcountry.
called because the deer jumped in his car.
Oh,
And the guy can barely speak English. He's like super Southern and super black. And 911's like, hello. And he's like, I need a ambulance. So he's like, what? I need a ambulance. Why do you need an ambulance, sir? Deer jumped in my car. And like they have a whole conversation. And at one point he's like, who keeps the deer? And then all of a sudden he's like, oh shit, the deer's alive. And it like goes on and he's just freaking out, you know. It's like somewhere in Alabama or somewhere, you know.
I had a first sergeant when I was in Korea. My first sergeant there, First Sergeant Cole. He was this old black dude, I think from Louisiana. No one could understand a fucking word the man said. So we'd be there for like morning formation. And we all just kind of like side-eyeing each other. And then we'd have to like have a meeting to try to piece together whatever the fuck he was telling us to do for the day. Because he'd get little bits. It was so fucking crazy.
My platoon sergeant, who I talk to now, because I think I told you how he called me out of the blue and he somehow found my number and found everyone else's number that was over in Iraq. And now we're all like in contact with each other and shit.
Cool.
He's from freaking South Carolina, boy. And when I'm talking to him on the phone and you got me, who occasionally, especially if I get like excited, my Kentucky comes out and you got his South Carolina. And I don't think either one of us understands a word the other saying, but we just laugh. He's like 70 years old, which I was like, damn, I thought you were younger. And he's like, he calls me McGee still. And I'm like, I was in your platoon for years and there's no G in my name anywhere. But I'm McGee forever, I guess. And he'd never just say no. If you asked him something and the answer was no, he would tell you no, but he would tell you no in like 5 languages. Yeah, he'd be like, Onde, nine, la, lo, me. And I was like, he'd tell you no in like German and Korean and freaking every other language. And I'd just be like, okay. All right. But yeah, that was when I was moping a little bit because one of the guys that I bunked with, like, had deleted himself recently. No one knows why. And that's what they got in touch with me for, you know, to be like, you know, and I was like, well, I mean, no one knows why, but believe me, a lot of people got suspicions in it because veterans do that a lot for some reason. But then I ended up getting to talk to a bunch of my buddies, and it was badass, man. It's cool. Like one of the guys I was in with, we were the same rank. We were both in the E4 Mafia and shit. He retired as an E9. Freaking master command sergeant major. Command sergeant major. I was like, holy shit, that guy really was a lifer. You know. But like you said, your sergeant, our Command Sergeant Major Robles, who was a Vietnam vet in 1990. He was still in the Army, right? And I think, but I can't swear to it, he was Filipino. And the only word you could understand that ever came out of his mouth was God damn it. But everything in between the God damn it,
just gibberish.
yeah, and he was like, 5'6", tabbed out.
Yeah.
Special forces tab, ranger tab, all these tabs, medals everywhere. The kind of leathery faced little bastard you just know had strangled somebody to death, in the middle of the night or some shit, right? No one could understand this guy.
Yeah. Why don't you guys come over to my place, see my collection of heads?
Everyone was afraid of him, though. Like, I seen him just dress down officers right to their faces because Sergeant Major Robles was Colonel Jensen, full bird colonel, was like his hand, like the hand of the king kind of thing. Yeah. And the rule in 1st Brigade was anything that came out of Sergeant Major Robles's mouth, you pretended it came out of Colonel Jensen's mouth. So if you were a lieutenant or a captain trying to be a dick and he got on your ass, you just dealt with it, even though he's enlisted and you're an officer, because the colonel is going to take his side every time and you will be fucked. So, no one could understand him anyway, man. He'd be stomping around with his little dwarf-looking ass.
There was a story going around when I was in. They were talking about some brand new West Point 2nd lieutenant who was in the Pentagon and tried just to be a hard ass, tried to give an order to the command sergeant major of the Army. And he's kind of like looked at him, and like the next day he was like off to Guam and like spent his entire career in Guam, could never get transferred out of it.
When I was in the Gulf, some 2nd lieutenant, because always the 2nd lieutenant,
they're worthless people.
They are worthless the human beings. They're worse than an E1. And they freaking, this guy tried to buck up to Sergeant Major Robles, and Sergeant Major Robles just went off, and he's like, lock up. And that 2nd lieutenant was like, you can't talk to me like that. And he's like, lock up now. And dude locked up into attention. And Sergeant Major Robles just ate his ass up right there on the back. We had the ramp down on the Bradleys. Just right there, this guy's standing on the Bradley. But you know what? That lieutenant, I forget his name, never should have been sent to an infantry unit. Never. He was a little guy. And the thing is officers, right? They can make selections of where they want to go, but they don't get to choose. They don't have an MOS like we did. So if they sent his ass to like, I don't know, a logistics company or some shit, he'd been fine. But you don't send a 5'1" fucking poussoir into fucking 7th Infantry. That ain't going to work out. And it didn't. And he ended up being gone to, I don't know. I mean, honestly, for all I know, he could have been shot and buried in a sand berm over there. I wouldn't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it anyway.
Yeah, a friend of mine who went to jump school was telling me about the black hats there were just utterly abusive to the officers. But they just had to call them sir while they were calling them worthless pieces of shit. You're a worthless human piece of shit, sir. You are completely fucked up, sir. Like, oh, I would have loved to see that.
Yeah. We, I don't know. I had a pretty good captain, Captain Brown, and like he would be like, if no one was around but like him and I, he'd be totally chill. He wouldn't make me call him sir or anything like that, Like in public, we had to do the whole thing, but in private, we just sit and talk about shit. We're from about the same area and stuff. And he had been enlisted and got out and went to college on the GI Bill. And while he's in college, went through ROTC and then rejoined and become an officer. So he was like the best officer ever and also the worst because he was super cool with the enlisted dudes, but he knew all your tricks.
Yeah.
You couldn't pull your E4 Mafia bullshit on this guy because he had been E4 Mafia. So he knew to check all the broom closets and shit. He knew what you were up to, But he was, on the other hand, super cool about shit too. He wasn't like arrogant or a dick or I'm an officer and you're not, so you suck. He was just an infantryman.
Yeah, we had a captain who had the drill sergeant patch because he had been enlisted originally. It's the other officers have a real problem with those guys. I've noticed that there was a lot of tension there with the Mustangs, as they called them.
There was I don't know if you saw it in your unit, but in my unit, you had like the officers formed cliques. It'd be like the West Pointers versus the ROTCers versus the ones that went through Citadel or whatever, who were really rare. You hardly ever, seen too many of those guys.
The big thing that won, because the base I was on, it was an artillery/air base, like helicopter base, and there was a weird thing between the commissioned officers and the warrant officers, because the majority of the pilots were warrant officers,
Mm-hmm.
and they seemed to have some very weird tension between them.
Yeah, my nephew's wife, her father, which makes him exactly nothing to me, is a Warrant 4 who specialized in electronic warfare, some shit like that.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen a warrant before, because
it's only certain MOSs do it. It's like very specialized stuff, like pilots, EOD. You see a lot of them. A lot of like the highly, because it's basically the idea behind it's a way to, because if you're a commissioned officer, you can do any of those jobs, but you'll get promoted out of the job. So, but a warrant officer will always be doing that, because it's weird, because like the warrant 5s are like pulling down colonel pay, but they're technically under a second lieutenant in rank. It's like
I know weird. We had to call him Mr.
Yeah, that's what we did. It was Mr. whatever.
Yeah. I mean, but I know that because I've read it in that little book they make you study. Yeah. But
the smart book.
I'd never seen one. The one that has like your operating.
Yeah, the smart book they made you carry around.
Yeah, we had to carry that thing around and learn it. But in like 3-7 infantry, we might have had one in the medical part of the thing. I don't remember real well.
I remember seeing there were a couple forward observer warrant officers.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a couple of them, but that's probably the only thing that would ever be around an infantry unit, I think. Yeah, it's usually for like very technical things. It's basically to keep them from getting promoted out of their job.
For like day-to-day operation in the field, our lieutenant or captain would be the forward observer. So if you had to call in artillery, that's who would do it. They would, every Bradley's got a radio set in it, and now they use mobile anyway, which is just cell phones. So just the officer would pop out the freaking map, pop out his GPS thing, get the 10-digit grid, pick up the phone, dial back to brigade or wherever, and just call it in. And then they have that whole procedure where you're like, they tell you round away or some shit, and then you see where it hits and you adjust fire, and once it's where you want it to be, you say fire for effect, and then like the whole battery just and blows everything up like that. So yeah.
Hang on, I'm gonna call in a mortar strike on Bob.
I mean, it's literally
stay away from Bob.
Nowadays, like the old Vietnam days of some dude humping a radio all over the place and all that shit. That's all gone, man. Yeah. It's literally like you do have radios, like I said, in vehicles, but like it's all mobile.
Which never freaking work.
It's all mobile now. They just pick up a big freaking cell phone and dial whoever they need to dial, and they like communication guys set up like these weird laser nodes, and it's all like laser communications. Like you call and it goes here, and then it gets shot to this other node, and then it goes to wherever you're going, and so it works like the phone system, only more.
I remember having to set up those fucking antennas all the time. The weird like Christmas tree antenna.
Oh,
I used to have to set those up all the time. You set down all the ropes and you like pull it up.
Yeah, they're like 40 feet tall, made out of aluminum
pipe
or something, and you got to tie them down. I had to do that before.
Yeah, I hated those things. I was always the one who had to do it because I did it really fast one time by myself. They're like, "Oh, okay, Mapatone does it."
Oh, this
God
guy.
God damn it.
Yeah, we had rat rig guys in headquarters that were supposed to do all the long distance communications. But by the time we went to Iraq, Saudi Arabia and Iraq, that whole radio bullshit was already done. Like, the mobile communications was already out. You know what I mean? So the wire dogs, as they called them, which were, the guys that ran wire all over the damn place to hook up to the phones, they were out of a job. The rat rig guys were out of a job. Like all of those radio guys were out of a job because now anybody could just pick up one of these mobile phones and call. As a matter of fact, one time we were in Saudi Arabia, I think, and they let us use the mobile phone. We only got 10 minutes, but to call home. Because depending on the number you called, it could route you to a actual civilian phone number.
When I was in Korea, we just got bought regular phones that we bought locally, and we used those all the time. And I always thought that was weird. It's like, aren't they worried about, because we're just like on a regular cell service.
Yeah,
so,
ours were the military ones, and like you got to sit down and you got like 5 minutes to connect to whatever, and then, hey mom, I'm still alive, blah blah blah. Okay, love you, bye. Because I guess they didn't have to do it, but they were nice. They did, And yeah, so the days of somebody running around with that shit on their back and like, hey, Alpha Bravo, nah, fuck all that. That's over. That ain't happening no more. But anyway, poor PB, he's like, damn it. Well, you want to talk about PB, Agartha?
I got in. I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" You're like, "I saw your video." Anyway, military story.
Yeah, we got off on that somehow. I blame Doc actually, but
yeah, it was my fault. I brought that up.
Yeah, I'll figure out how to do longer form stuff. I'm looking at things right now. One of the things I'm looking at is like for shorts, just small parts of books that were really surprising that you didn't expect, because the DMG2 for 4th edition D&D actually had a really good article in it by Robin Laws, and it broke down players by how they play. So it's like you've got the actor, you've got the explorer, you got the dude who just shows up to eat chips and hang out with his friends, you got the combat monster, and it tells you like how to build to keep those players engaged and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's actually it was one of the few times in a DMG that I was like, this is actually helpful and I can understand what's being said here, as opposed to it just being like, numbers and bullshit and how to make up, how to challenge them numerically. It's like, I don't care. I'll just throw them up against something with a lot of hit points until they beat it to death and they'll be happy.
There used to be a thing back then, and what you just said reminds me of it, where you would do this, what was it called? A Bechdel test.
Okay.
And you'd answer like 100 questions or so. And at the end, it would tell you whether you were like a socializer, an explorer, a killer. There was like there was like this whole thing, and it would give you percentages. Oh, okay. And I'm talking like, of course, in the early 2000s, but a lot of DMs, like the guy who ran the Shadowrun games I played in for years, he would request us all to do the Bechdel test and then bring him the numbers. And we did, because it was free. It was online back then. You just typed it in and you went to a place and did a thing. And then, like, I was a 50-50 socializer killer. I didn't have explorer or any of that. It was socialize kill. And so it was like, okay. Yeah. So this guy shows up to hang out with the bros and to kill things. I guess a friendly murder hobo.
There you go.
And my wife is a explorer, socializer, something else.
Right.
So her play style is she likes to solve riddles and explore new regions and learn things. And the killing's not a big part of her play style.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we were discussing it on a stream. I think it came up because people were like, they kept talking about combat, and I was like, that's why I play a lot of RPGs where I just don't give a shit about combat, because I get that out of the way with like board games, miniature games, and like 4E D&D or games like that where it's almost all strategic combat. So I don't care. Like everybody's like, oh, you gotta have really good combat rules, and it's like, why? The more real estate that takes up in the rule book, the more players think like, well, this is all I need to know. I need to know everything about combat, and then that's what you get forever. Ever since D&D, which was based off of miniatures warfare game, everything's been about combat, and it's done it really poorly. There's only been a few that I was like, okay, cool, I can see what's happening here, I can understand stuff. But other than that, D&D is just rock'em sock'em robots. You're trying to hit armor class to take down hit points until one of their heads pop off, and then you win. Yay! You get your treasure.
see,
And then you get better at killing to get more treasure.
I don't attack D&D combat just because I respect the ambiguity of it. I don't know if that's the right word,
Sure.
but it's like if you want to play like a really granular system, I mean, Rollmaster is great.
Yeah, I've heard the opposite. Well, I mean, I know it's granular, but I've heard it takes even longer. See, for me, it's like,
oh, it does. That's why I
Yeah,
won't talk shit about the D&D combat system. You can run a combat in like no time
depending,
and figure it out. You know,
Sure.
Rollmaster takes 3 times as long, but you know exactly what is going on, and everything
Right.
you do actually matters. And
Yeah.
and there's not, let's beat on each other till there's no hit points. There's, oh shit, that guy just split my skull in with a fucking axe, and now I'm
Right.
dead.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so
Yeah, and I think I
both
see,
are cool, but I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes you just want that really ambiguous is not the right word.
It's abstract.
Yeah,
abstract,
sometimes
yeah.
you just want abstract. You just want to.
Sure.
A game that did that really well, kind of, is the basic combat rules for Burning Wheel, where
We've
you
never gotten to see
basically
it.
roll like some dice 6 and add your bonuses, and your opponent rolls their dice 6 and add some bonuses, and whoever won.
Yeah.
And that's just it. There's not multiple rounds of combat.
Yeah,
You
that's just
do a
it.
roll off, and then somebody's dead and someone's not, you know,
Right.
or wounded. It depends. You can choose where you want to kill them or wound them or whatever.
Sure. Well, I think that's the thing. I disagreed with Max Liao because we were talking about that, because I said, like, if you're playing one of those games that has charts on top of charts, then you're really kind of abdicating your creativity to just say, like, well, let's look at a chart and see what happens in combat. Oh, I nicked your nose, or if I rolled high, oh, I cut your whole face off. Oh, how about that? Just, it becomes this random swinginess of stupidity. Whereas I liked L5R combat because it was like, well, yeah, this is feudal Japan, so you've got guys walking around in silk robes, swinging 5-foot razor blades at each other. So it's, if you get hit, you're probably dead. So it very much was people not trying to big dick and be like, look how great at combat I am, because there are people who are like, yeah, no, that guy is the Kakita duelist. He's going to kill any one of us at any time he wants, but he's not going to, because there's an honor system in the game that's built into it. Like I said in my top 10 review, I like it because it keeps the murder hobos in line. So, because otherwise, you would just
being
have
a
the
man
guy.
after my own heart.
Yeah,
I
'cause
love first edition L5R.
it's brutal. It's very brutal.
I mean, the DC is like their freaking dex plus armor, and if you
Yeah.
roll enough, fucking, you can just cut somebody in half.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can be the best Lion Clan Bushi that ever lived. Fuck around with that Crane Clan duelist, and all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah, because they'll be like, oh yeah, no, we're not doing an open melee here. This is a samurai duel.
we're going to
Now-
challenge.
now, yeah,
you're
You're on my turf now, because that guy will stand center stance.
point, and you're going to die. Generally
Yeah.
speaking,
And that was a cool thing that I saw in one game. We had 2 guys who were just like too macho to back down, so they challenged each other to a duel. And there was one guy there who was like an Ayutsu master, and like they got ready for their, like they're in their center stance getting ready to attack each other, and then the guy just looked and said, "That guy wins." And they're like, "What?" And then they realized, like, well, he's a master, so you could tell by our stance who's going to die. So nobody had to get injured, nobody had to die, because we were at the wall and we were going to do a mission. And it's like, yeah, we're not going to go one man down or two guys mauled or whatever going into the Shadowlands.
Yeah.
So
There
we
was
just
this,
had,
yeah.
you know,
There was a scene in Seven Samurai where they do that, but the guy disputes it, and then he winds up killing him. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
draw. He's like, no, I won. And he like argued with him. He's like, oh, we can do this for real if you want.
Yeah.
He
In the
insisted.
movie Hero, there's like a duel between a spearmaster named Sky and Jet Li's character, Nameless. And it's like 20 minutes of them fighting, and then in the end, you realize neither one of them had moved.
Yeah, they were just
It
they were
all
looking at
just
the
going
possibilities.
over in their head,
Yeah.
everything, and then in the end, Nameless stabs him.
Yeah.
But they'd went over every single outcome, and then it ended up being that quick. Bam.
That was a good one.
Nameless fought with the Chinese longsword.
That was the one that was kind of like Rashomon, right? Where it was like he had different colors depending on whose perspective
Yeah,
you were.
each
Yeah.
color
Yeah.
was a person's point of view. Such a great movie. Such
Yeah,
a
that was a good
really
one.
Good movie.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you had someone do that in your game, that is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Because usually
Because
it
it was-
ended up with me just getting killed by some Crane Clan jack. Because he'd start talking shit. And of course, me being the honorable lion, I'd be like, you can't do that. And he'd be like, oh, yeah, you want to duel? And I
Yeah.
can't say no because then I'd be a coward. And then
Right.
just the way the rules are, yeah, I'm really good at fighting. But guess
Yeah.
what? I'm not so great at dueling. And he'd be like, well, I'm going to burn a void and get all these bonuses, and blam, you're dead. Like, okay,
Yeah. Just one hit kill you. Yeah.
nice. But I
Yeah.
learned. I started playing We Are Not Samurai, Scorpion Clan, or We're Not Ninjas, Scorpion Clan Shugenja, or not Shugenja, Shinobi. I'm not a
Oh,
ninja.
yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to challenge you to a duel. And I'm like, poison shuriken. No, you're not.
That was one of the more fun ones we had. Yeah, we did a Scorpion campaign, and yeah, the Shinobi guy, I was like, we kept looking at, I just referred to him as the gardener because he kept growing all the poison herbs and stuff like that. So I was like, no, he's really good at flower arrangement. So he had like, yeah, the Ikebana or whatever, the flower arrangement skill and all this other stuff. He's like, oh, he keeps the Zen garden clean. And then like, yeah, he'd be our poison master the whole time.
Yeah.
That was yeah.
Yeah. And it's like I used to play the card game too. I loved that game so much when it came out. And it's just the last version that came out I don't like because it uses the kind of like the Star Wars proprietary dice. But it only uses two, a 12 and a 6. So it's not terrible.
Right.
But 4th edition is a really great version. And I have all the 4th edition stuff, but it uses that kind of it uses a percentile system, which is kind of weird, right? But the books are beautiful. Man, they're so good.
Yeah, this is like the 15th anniversary one. I picked this up at Gen Con one time.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh, I've
that's a
always
4th
wanted to
edition.
see that. I've never gotten to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
do it.
each one had a clan stamp on the back too. So I went with Scorpion because we were playing our Scorpion game. And I was
Oh
like, yeah,
man, I'm so jealous.
yeah, it's a shame AEG doesn't do it anymore, man. Yeah, L5R was a great system.
Yeah, I don't understand what they're thinking, but whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I have, not to be like, I don't mean to brag, but I have every edition of L5R. And if I were going to run it around the house here,
Yeah.
I would probably go with First.
Yeah, I was gonna say First is the only one that I don't have. Every main book I saw of it was like falling apart. Like it must have had bad spines to it or something. So
See, I've got 3 first edition rule books, and they're all perfect still.
oh, there you go. Somebody was
But,
probably just handling them like a jackass.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I just got lucky.
Sure.
But I will say point blank, though, that the 4th edition books
Yeah.
were so fucking nice. I mean, they
Yeah.
were just beautiful. The art, like everything in them was just. See, I've got my fourth here. I think. Let's see. This is the rule book. I've got all the
That's it.
like lore of the empire and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
But the art in this, every page,
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
is
that's good
just
stuff.
beautiful. And
This is going on the list of stuff I must have now. Let me put this down.
Yeah,
and I would say
you
if
could probably get a
could look
PDF
up-
of it, but that rule book's like $200.
Ooh.
It's a good game, but yeah, unfortunately, it's very hard to find. Because I thought I saw one. I was at Gamehole Con. I was digging through the boxes, and I was like, and he's like, "That's not the main rule book." I was like, "Son of a bitch!" Yeah, yeah. Because that was that they had the Grove of Traitors. They buried them under the trees.
Yeah. And it's like this one's a lot more complicated. First edition is super simple.
Yeah.
It's like you basically pick some attributes which are determined by whether you're a Bushi and what clan you are, a Bushi or Shugenja, or maybe a monk if you're Dragon Clan, or
Right.
whatever. Every clan has their thing. And then you get your skills and then you play. And it's pretty easy, you know. You just got to keep track of glory and honor. And you don't run around like Paul is 100% right. That is not the game to run around and just want to fuck with people.
No,
Because somebody
you're
will take you right out.
yeah, you're going to cross the wrong
it'll
person
be like-
easily. Yeah. I'll say though,
But-
as far as source books though, Emerald Empire is one of the best. Just like because each chapter in here is like, how does the law work? And then there's one chapter where it's like, what does the daily routine of a samurai look like? What do they eat? How do they, and it's like, oh, you exercise, you're going to bathe, you're going to do this. And it's like, okay.
I have
What
that
kind of-
one. Is that the one that explains the provinces too?
It might.
Because
a
I have
little bit.
another one that goes through in detail each of the clan holds and every province in it.
That's probably Atlas of Rokugan. Would be that one.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and it explains like what's the Mantis clan doing out there on those islands and what's going on with this and that.
You gotta love the Scorpion always have the big crazy masks. And that's why they're like, they're evil. They're always wearing masks. And it's like, no, because they know they're being dishonorable. So they have to hide their face because that's like their shame. It's, just great.
And
lore
there's a
behind it.
story of the one Scorpion clan guy that got put on the hit list, and how he hid is he removed his mask.
He just hid in plain sight. Yeah, they couldn't
So
find him.
he's
They're like,
standing
we're
there
a
without a
scorpion.
mask.
And people just look around. They're like, well, there's nobody in a mask here, so there's no scorpions.
And then for a while, a major Scorpion clan character was Bayushi Paneki.
Mhm.
And his mask was really sheer and see-through
Yeah.
because he was considered to be the most beautiful samurai in all of Rokugan.
Yeah.
So he made it where you could see through the mask to see
Yeah.
how pretty he was. And then he got turned into a fucking zombie, but okay, whatever. Nice.
Yeah, Emerald Empire, and then for Shadowrun, that's Sprawl Survival Guide. Those are like the two best, like if you're a role player source books, because Sprawl Survival Guide,
Survival Guide's good.
because it told you like what kind of sports do they watch when you have trolls and cybernetics and magic and shit like that in this world. And it was like, oh yeah, there's like a super heavy division in the UFC for guys who are all chromed out, and it gave you rules to build your house, which was a huge thing in that. It was like, oh, you could just pay for lifestyle, but in this you could like really set up your lifestyle. Because I had it where it was like that one dwarf decker that I was playing who was running the Stuffer Shack as a side job, like during his day job. He lived like up in a greenhouse because I had chloroplast skin. And so it was like with sunlight, I could kind of feed myself off of just so I was like, I'm going to live in like this hydroponic garden on the roof of a building that was like an old rundown city project that they were using as like a public garden or whatever like that. So I was like, so I just lived up there, and I would just sit in a chair hooked up to the internet or whatever, letting the sun bake me as I'm sitting there taking care of making sure nobody robs the Stuffer Shack during the day, and then run out at night being like a data broker. So
We my shaman lived with a decker, and we bought an old garage
Mhm.
in, I think, Paliup, which was a rough area. So
yeah, it's
we
one of the
had
rougher
to,
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to have like lots of security there.
Yeah.
And he would actually, his character's kind of gig was a mechanic. Like
Mhm.
you could bring your car, bike, whatever you had in there. He would fix it if you had the Nuyen. And then I was basically the roommate that worked at the university teaching magical theory as a shaman,
Yeah.
and so not a lot of money, but the two of us together, we had that, the downstairs with all the lifts and everything. Like, the DM had helped us map it out. We had like the downstairs where all the lifts and everything were, and the office, and
Yeah.
then the upstairs, which had the bathrooms and the freaking our separate rooms and workspaces and everything. And I mean, it seems like dumb because it's like, oh, so you're basically playing Barbie dollhouse, right? But it was
Yeah.
important. It was
Yeah.
really important to know what we were doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was cool though because they had edges and flaws you could add to your home because you could have like nosy neighbors and stuff like that who like it sucks because they'd keep an eye on what you were doing, but they'd also like let you know what was up if like something they would call the cops. That was the thing. Like you had an alarm rating on your building because they would keep an eye out. And if something weird was happening, they would always be calling the cops.
Well, it's always good to have a good money sink in a game for where players can like build something up and have it.
Yeah. And that was the
But-
thing. Yeah. They put so much detail into the lifestyle. It was like, oh, cool. I could just put my cash into that. So, yeah.
Yeah, because at the beginning of character generation, if you're a human, you could just stick your A priority into like cash and start the game like with like hundreds of thousands of new one or whatever.
Well,
Be
remember
like-
you divided it at the start, so like you wanted to spend it during creation if you could. That was usually
Right.
if you wanted to build like a street samurai, you'd get money up at the top so you could get your wired reflexes and all that shit going.
Exactly. You would
Yeah.
human max money, wired reflexes as high as it goes, smart gun link,
Yep.
and then
Subdermal
Uh,
armor if you can.
the next one you might I would put skills. I think I would always went money, attribute, skills, and then like race is always the lowest because humans free.
Yeah.
It was like A, B, C, D, E. At least first and second
That was one
edition. It was like
that
A,
was
B,
one of
C.
the nice things, at least in fourth edition, they added that edge that was like it gave you rerolls. So that's like humans got an extra point of that. But that was about it. Because everybody else like, why don't we play an elf? And I'm like, because elves suck. Play a dwarf. You get that willpower bonus any caster you play. Because that was what I liked about it. It was like dwarves are really good spellcasters because it wasn't Vancian, so you weren't out of spell slots. You had to roll for the drain on the spell. So if you cast something big and crazy powerful, it was like, oh, you were
That's
you were
what
like
I was
passing out.
telling Paul. You just brought us full circle. I was telling Doc about how I like the original Shadowrun thing because you had magic and technology, but there was a definite delineation between them.
Mhm.
Because if you were a mage and you thought, I'm going to buy some cyber tech bullet, yeah, you're screwed
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a street Sam, no, you're not going to like try to learn magic. Why are you, an idiot?
Yeah.
Because
you don't need to.
training
There's
will do
there's-
you in.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was no point in casting anything like, and that was the cool thing with learning because you had essence, which that capped what your magic attribute could be because magic was an attribute, and
Right.
the only way to raise your magic attribute was to initiate as a magician, which was like a special thing. That's why you wanted to go out and join like a mage's circle or a magic club or something like
lodge.
that, or a lodge. So because you could do once a month, you would go on these crazy vision quests to expand your magical powers. And that's what's cool. You learn those meta magic techniques, and it could be like learn how to speak like an arcane language, which would help you with your drain on your spells, or you could cast
Foci
runes. What's
and
that?
Talisman.
Yeah, you could do all kinds of. I forgot what the hell they call that, artificing or whatever, where you can make foci, talismans, and all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I played a shaman. I never played a mage, so I know the shaman part
yeah,
with talismans and lodges and stuff, but not so much the. Actually, the kind of shaman I played was druid, so it wasn't even a lodge. It was like a circle or something, whatever. it was.
yeah. My buddy played like a Viking shaman or something like that because he had all kinds of weird combat abilities with his stuff. I remember because that was a cool game because we were all a circle, and the full-born mage guy, he specialized in making deals with elementals. So he would always do these rituals. It cost loads of money because you're buying I forgot what the hell you needed, some kind of magical components or whatever for the ritual. But he would keep these on contract, the fire elementals. So if something would happen, you call one of those in. That's like calling in an airstrike. This thing's
For real.
fire elementals running around just burning shit, and we get the hell out of there pretty much. So,
And that, see, my character was built with the rules from the Tir na Nog book,
yeah,
which was the book on Ireland, and it also gave you rules for like the shamans that were more like the Celtic shamans.
right.
So they had different, like, you had different spirits and things like that, like stag and this and that, salmon and whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're a shaman. But because in the original Shadowrun, the elves had taken over Ireland, except there was a small part of Ireland where the humans were still fighting to hold on to Ireland. So it was kind of like the whole IRA thing, except the enemy was the freaking elven queen of Tir na Nog or some shit.
Right.
And then you had Oregon was Tir Tanger, if I'm saying that right.
Right.
And they were like elven supremacists that wouldn't let anyone that wasn't an elf in. Not only would they kill you if you tried to jump the border, but where the train from Seattle went down to LA or whatever, they walled it off so you couldn't even look into the country.
Oh, they made it a tunnel? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I know they had a special drug. If they found you even coming close to the border, they would hit you with it and move you further away. It was like and you would forget what would happen. It's almost like what they put you under with when they give you like minor surgeries or something like that. You're like, what a bunch of
The elves in Shadowrun are pretty weird, man. They're like, and then you had the Salish, which were up in north of Seattle, and they were like elves had mixed in with like a native tribe, and that had become like this weird hybrid where they lived like the Salish Indians, but some of them were elves.
Yeah.
And they were all like out doing their bullshit, and you could visit the Council Island in Seattle and all that kind of shit. I mean, it was really cool. And then you had the ghetto full of elves where the Harlequin was.
Oh, God.
And he was like thousands of years old somehow.
He was some developer's personal little masturbatory character. It was like, okay, don't bring up Harlequin ever again, man. This guy.
Yeah, he like lived there, and he dressed up like the freaking Crow with the and he was like had been an elf for like thousands of years. He's like he ran the show, boy. He was powerful too.
Yeah, which didn't make sense because they were only on the scene for like 40 years or something like that. When I forgot what the hell it would happen. It wasn't goblinization, but it was the first one where the elves and dwarves showed up.
Did they goblinize the cheese?
They must die. Yeah, it was first you had like the human something that happened, and then you had straight up goblinization where orcs and trolls, and sometimes you would be born human, but then at puberty you would change into the thing.
Yeah. At some point it stabilized where it was like the races were separate, because like at first that was where you had the political group mothers of metahumans and stuff like that, because their kids changed. So, but then after that it was like
humanity first or whatever.
Yeah, the Humanist Poly Club, which that mage group we kind of got talked into joining that because the guy who was the elemental guy was like a really racist Chinese guy. And he was like, we're all humans. We should join these guys and team up. And I was like, I don't know about that.
Makes sense, because according to the early lore, the most racist country on the planet was Japan. Like if you were born in Japan as like a orc or some shit like that, you were going to be the lowest caste for your life. It was just going to suck. However, for some reason, they were cool with dwarves.
Yeah, the Kobune or whatever they called them, and then there was like the Oni was like a branch of, I think that was a troll maybe for Japan, because
I think the Oni is like the Japanese troll. I think
right. They had the really weird like versions from different areas, because I know like in the Mediterranean they had the trolls that were cyclopses. So you had different like mythical beings coming up across the world from where their mythology was based on.
Right.
But
And
yeah, I
then-
remember actually being okay with that because my guy was a Blackfoot Indian and I was an anti-Tir Tangir terrorist because they took all of our land. It was all in Oregon.
yeah,
These
and
fucking
the
elves
elves-
moved in and kicked my tribe out. So we were like, we're going after them. So
yeah, they were yeah, all of that. So cool back in the day, man. It's so cool being able to. I mean, my wife loved that game too, at least the setting, you know.
yeah, it's
I
yeah.
actually ran it about 2 years ago. I ran like can't call it a one shot because we played 4 games, but
It was a 4-shot. There you go.
right. It was like a very short thing because I have people at the game table who'd never heard of it.
Oh,
And I'm
well.
like, okay. So I didn't let anybody make characters. Everybody just picked
Yeah, it's
from the
easier to-
archetypes.
Yeah.
And we just played one of the short adventures and everyone loved it. Like literally all of my players were like, that shit was cool.
There you
And I
go.
was like, yeah, you know, like the one lady that's currently playing the weird assassin in Hyperborea, she was playing a human shaman
Okay.
who could summon like I think her totem was like dog.
Okay.
So she could do healing and she could summon like different spirits, not elmos, but spirits, you know, to and then Haas was playing a troll with a Panther autocannon.
Yep.
And the wife was a street samurai.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay. I mean, so good times. If you have a good DM, Shadowrun really can be a really fun game. But it does require like a special kind of mindset, you know. And L5R, again, if you've got a good GM and the players are willing to get into the whole feudal Japan, but with flaming katanas and demons situation, I mean, that shit is.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play because I remember playing back in like early '90s where I was in a Oriental Adventures D&D campaign with a guy who was like really into Japanese mythology, and it was a lot of fun.
There was a period where Wizards of the Coast actually bought the setting from L5R. And the Oriental Adventures is sometime during 3rd edition, they got rid of Kuratur and they put in Rakugan. But then at some point, Wizards of the Coast dropped Rakugan and went back to Kuratur. So
Yep.
there is an actual 3rd edition or 3.5 D&D book set in the Empire, the Empire of Rakugan, the Jade Empire or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you could play Oriental Adventures, but using D&D rules, which I would never do. I'd always say just play L5R. But man, if you got players that can get around the idea of, like I said, flaming katanas, ninjas, and see, there you go.
Yeah, I would say Oriental Adventures, but Legend of the Five Rings. But yeah, Way of the Daimyo was cool because this is like almost end game for your guys. So you could be like a Hatamoto or whatever, like a regional governor, if you wanted to do almost domain play stuff with it. But yeah, they definitely
Right.
had these books for sure.
And yeah, so if you liked Oriental Adventures, you would absolutely love L5R, like
Yeah.
for sure, 100%.
Yeah, it's one of those games I've always heard like really good things about. Like I've always wanted to play that.
Yeah. Yeah, later editions, yeah, it was interesting because it was like James was saying, like 1st and 2nd edition, it was mostly the Bushi, who were just the samurai, like the soldiers, Shugenja, which are the magicians, and then maybe something that's specialized towards your clan. Because I remember they had like a Scorpion Clan Saboteur or something else. Like they had different shit depending on what clan.
Yeah,
you
you
were.
had like the Crab Clan Inquisitor and the Phoenix Clan Bodyguard, and then
Yep.
the Dragon Clan Monk.
I think had the monk, yeah.
And
then
the monk was basically a dude who you got to pick magic tattoos.
Yeah.
And you were an Ichizumi or whatever, a tattooed man.
Yeah.
And depending on the tattoos you got, it like increased attributes or gave you abilities.
Yeah, you could have like crazy stuff. Like for an hour, you could run like at a ridiculous speed or something like that. It was very specific depending on which
Yeah.
one it was.
Yeah, there's
But-
like one where if you activated it, you could literally like do like in that one movie where they're dancing around on fucking bamboo.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Crouching Tiger.
Crouching Tiger.
Crouching
Yeah.
Yeah, as an Ichizumi, you could have that ability. You could also get an ability where you could breathe fire in a cone like
Mhm.
once or
Oh,
or
I could do
like
that. A
all
little
the-
Everclear and a lighter.
kind of. But the thing that they never tell anybody, but if you run the game, you find out is that Togashi, who is the clan leader of the Dragon Clan, is the actual kami Togashi that fell from the heavens.
Yeah.
And he's like the first dragon.
Yeah.
Or some crazy shit, right? And the reason the Ichizumi can do what they do is part of his blood is in the ink that they tattoo you with. So
Yeah.
you because like I said, it's feudal Japan, but with flaming katanas and demons, right?
There's fantasy aspect to it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's not just feudal Japan because the Mantis clan, those guys are straight up like Koreans.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then the Crab clan are really more Chinese than
Can you
Japanese.
be a specialist
when you get
rooftop
down
Korean?
to it.
Rooftop Korean.
What?
Kind of, because the Mantis clan had the Wasp, and those guys were like the best archers.
Oh, that was their thing: pirate ships and archers, and then the leader of the Mantis clan. And I have the miniature right up here.
Oh, Yoritomo or whatever.
Yoritomo, who's like 12 feet tall, is like the son of a god.
Yeah.
The god of storms or some shit, and he fights with two commies.
Yeah.
And he wears a big mask with the Mempo and the Mantis bullshit. And like
Yeah.
at some point during the storyline, he did something and it allowed the Mantis clan to become a actual great clan.
Yeah, they supported Toturi when he was retaking the throne after what was that, Hantai became corrupted. They had the second
After they
Thunder.
opened the 12th scroll or whatever.
Yeah, and that's old school. That was like the original story from the card game. They had that, and that's when they had to invade Otosanuchi again, and they had to kill the kid, even though they were sworn. That was the problem.
Well, that's the line Civil War, because some of the lions refused to betray Hantai because
Mhm.
even though they knew he was possessed by what's his name,
Fuleng.
Fu Ling, they
Yeah.
still had given an oath to protect him.
Yeah, that was the
So you
problem.
had
wasn't it?
lion
So-
samurai fighting lion samurai in the streets.
well, that's what you find out. Toturi was Akodo Toturi, and that was why the Akodo
Yeah, he
clan
was
wasn't
like
leading
one of
the
the
lion.
big Akado family guys, and,
Yeah.
and he had become a Ronin.
Yeah, and then he built up this whole army, and then Yoritomo had his crazy pirates join in with them, and there's
And
a bunch
then
of
you had,
minor clans.
remember what's his name, Matsuhari?
Mhm.
He was the Matsu clan lion shinobi.
Okay.
And I had his card, and on his card he was wearing a ninja set, but it was all white, and he had like the kami but with the chain, whatever
Yeah.
that's called.
Manrika Kusari. Yeah.
And it's like, what is this? This is a Lion Clan guy, but he's a freaking
Right.
ninja.
Yeah, I
And
think
you
they
had that
retconned
other
him.
Akado guy that ended up being like the leader of the Kolot, which was some kind of like criminal organization.
Yeah. That was the thing. You had three different, because you had the Blood Speakers, you had the Kolot, and then there was another one. I forgot what the hell it was, but yeah, there was some weird secret organization.
And his first card was Akado something, Lion Clan tactician teacher. And then it come out with the advanced card, and it's like Kolot master.
Yeah, and you're
what?
like, oh, he was part of the Japanese Illuminati or whatever the hell this is.
Whatever
Yeah.
they were doing, yeah. Because it was kind of like members from every clan could be members of the Kolot, and they all worked together to do whatever the fuck they were doing. And
Yeah.
it was like, and then at some point in the setting, the Spider Clan come into existence.
They're kind of bullshit, but yeah.
And they're a bunch of shadow corrupted fuckheads.
Yeah.
But somehow or another, they're still accepted as like a great clan.
Some kind of deal was cut, because that was the whole like Anvil of Doom thing where all the spirits came from the like the Land of the Dead or whatever. So you had all these zombie samurai, but they still saw themselves as members of the court. So they had to kind of cut a deal and be like, all right, you guys will be that. You'll be watched by your own obsidian magistrates and all that shit. But
Yeah, they sent them on the other side of the wall, and they have a city somewhere in the Shadowlands. It's just their shit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
gotta run, guys. It's 10:30, and I gotta have 4.
Yeah, it's about time to cut it off. But I'm glad we start talking
Yeah,
about
you
games
guys.
at some point, Paul.
That's why I was like, what the hell are we talking about? We should be talking about some games here. But yeah.
And we
We'll
talk
get you guys
about
later.
2 games that I
Good talk.
especially loved from when I was young.
Yeah, it's my number 1 and my number 3 right there. Shadowrun.
I mean,
and
Shadowrun and L5R, such good games that do not, well, especially L5R. L5R does not get the love it should.
Yeah.
Half
Well,
of these idiots, if they would take a break and just look at that, they would be like, "This is actually such a great game."
Yeah, people still play the hell out of it. I know they do.
Great
Like a lot.
system, too. That roll/keep
Yeah.
thing, that is so good. It's like you can have like a 9K2. So you roll the 9 die and keep the best 2, but if you roll 10s, they explode. So you
Yep.
could end up just whacking somebody in half with just the, so good.
I like too how they cap the dice too. You're never going to roll more than 10.
Right.
They set that up in 4th edition where it's like you only ever roll 10 dice. If you ever get more than that, it just gives you a +5, like a free raise, and that's
right.
it. So yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we talked about those 2 games. Those are great games. And Paul,
yes sir.
stay warm, brother. I know it's getting chilly up there.
Yeah, it was like 70 just last week, and it dropped back down to like 20. So it's like
Yeah, it was like 70 or 80 here last week, and today it was 40.
yeah,
And I'm like, this is Florida. What are we doing?
right. Yeah, at
You
least
know?
I'm not in New York. I'm hearing they're going to get pounded.
Oh, Buffalo's going to get bushwhacked. It's going to be
Yeah.
horrible. But I'll have to talk to Richard, make sure he's still alive tomorrow. But I'll talk to you later, bro.
See you, man.